How's it going, everybody? What up? Thanks for watching the live stream. Appreciate you. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Now we're going to continue on. Oh, I left my chapstick somewhere. I had to end this and go make my dad a sandwich really quick. Today's like the first time where there's like nobody in the home other than me being on the live stream. So made him a sandwich. He's all good. So we're going to go live into the Discord. This is a Discord-heavy after chat. What I mean specifically is we are going to be having live audio coming in from Discord, text and chat coming in from Discord. Obviously, everybody on YouTube, you guys, I see your chats coming and rolling. Twitch also as well. We're simulcasting to Twitch. All the things right now. So let's go into the Discord and say hello to all the people. Oh, people in 160 meters. What's going on? What's going on? Cal, Joe, John, Bug, Justin, Levi, Patrick, and Rob don't want to be in the live stream. I see how it is. I'm just kidding.
Well, the sun is here too.
We have multiple chat streams. Hey, how's it going, everybody? No problem, Don. You're good. You guys are keeping it warm. I appreciate that. So we've entered the Discord for the after chat. Thanks everybody for joining us over here. So what we like to do over on the after chat is, one, welcome everybody who's joined us on the Discord for the first time. So if you're here for the first time and you'd like to say hi and ask a question, go ahead and come now. It's kind of like checking into a repeater for the first time. Or a net. So again, if you're here for the first time on Discord in the voice chat and you'd like to say hi or ask a question, just go ahead and come forward. Oh, for those of you that are new, there's a PTT button too. All right. Looks like there's a bunch of new faces or new names, but we'll come back. No big deal. Hey, 86DM is in the house. How's it going? All right, looking at the chat. Very good. Okay, so how's it going, everybody? Everybody else, we'll just open the floodgates. What do we got for any questions on ham radio? Come forward. Nothing? We've solved all the problems. Excellent. I can go back to playing APRS. Playing with my Pico APRS over here. Nothing? Was this some kind of internal joke? Nobody wants to talk?
No, I mean...
This is a first.
I can't wait to wear the sweatshirt.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for
I'm bringing
it
to
Paul. I appreciate
Hamcation.
it. Well, I'm thinking about bringing it to Hamcation too, but I think it's going to be too damn hot.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Question. Who was that?
I asked the question in the chat about APRS and being able to cross band with a non-APRS radio.
That should work.
He sent me a sweatshirt. We're offering to put them up.
That should work. There you go. It's FM. They both run in FM mode, right?
I thought so. It's just looking it up, I could never find anything, and I didn't want to mess any kind of network up.
There's possibly some kind of signal degradation that you might get, but I don't think it would be enough that the APRS packet wouldn't flow. The packets will flow. Doorknobs is asking a question. This could be a good round the room question. What's the craziest thing you've heard on the radio? I'll go first. For me, it's just all the people who get on the radio and fight with each other. The bad actors who just want to get on the air and scream back and forth into each other. I never understood that. Like it never made any sense to me. Or those who get really protective of a frequency space, like you can't access it if they're not using it. Like it should be reserved for just them, even if they're not using it. That's the craziest thing. It's crazy for me to think as a human being that there are people like that out there, and this is really important to them. So it's always wild to me.
7200.
7200 is a good example. The crazy dude in Canada, 14.313. Sorry, yeah, 313 is actually he was sampled from the song that I played in the beginning of this live stream. That's actually his voice from when he was going off on Americans.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yep. How about anybody else want to dive in with the craziest thing they've heard on the air?
200 tops it all.
That was Jason. Jason KB1 WSE said 7.200 tops it all. Yeah, 7.200 is pretty gnarly. I will note, though, that for us West Coasters or people in the Southwest, we don't get a lot of the really crazy people on 7.200. They're more, I think, like an East Coast, Midwest signal from my experience. Only on like really crazy 40-meter propagation days do I hear them.
I like to take, the radios with the waterfall and tune them around, outside the ham bands or even up just above the ham bands or just below, and look at the signals that are coming in. Because, you get used to seeing SSB and RIDI and, all of the other things. And then you see these things and I've captured a few of them on my channel where like there's these two signals that are coming in, and then right in the middle of it is some kind of thing that looks like SSTV, and don't know. I think somebody did in the comments of that video did identify what that was, but anyway, just signals like that. I like to see things in the waterfall and go, what the heck is that? And tune over and listen and see if see if you can tell like it's digital or whatever. And of course, those ones that really freak me out are the ones that are sweeping through the band, like you're on 40 meters and you'll just see this signal just come sweeping through.
That's the Isana node or whatever. That's the propagation blip, right?
I think, or I've heard that it was like radar.
Could be, but I thought it was the propagation blip a lot of times. Jody has a good one. Oddest thing I heard on the radio on 75 meters, heard and recorded, a guy detailing an assault he did on someone in Colorado. I ended up forwarding it to the sheriff's office. Yeah, that's a serious one. I did hear a couple of guys on a repeater around here that were talking about their DUIs, like just often drinking and driving, and it was just crazy to me, the stories that they were retelling about their escapades, getting caught and getting DUIs and stuff. I was like, man, this is the problem might be you, bud. I don't know.
Yeah, the funniest thing I ever heard, now, we've talked about this before, like right after it happened, but that time the guy came in, and I'm not going to give his call sign because YouTube, but he came on and he beat Evan up because we were using his frequency. And so we went ahead, this was during the HRCC net, and we went ahead and we finished up the net, and we kicked him off and told him to move over, that, we were in the middle of a net and just give us a few minutes and we'll be out of your way. So anyway, when we finally do get out of the way, and then a bunch of us sat there and listened to him, he starts this net up, and literally it's a net of 4 or 5 doctors that are getting on discussing colonoscopies.
No way.
And yes, this is absolutely true. It was just the most hilarious thing because we make so many damn jokes about it. But
it was absolutely true. I'll back him up on that.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is
What
ridiculous.
band was that on, Don?
What?
It was 40.
What band was that? Was that 20 meters, 40?
No, 40. 40.
I would have thought it would have been on a bottom band.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually it's the 80-meter band. That's why I was kind of surprised that they would discuss that on 40.
40 meters can turn into a pretty big rag chew event.
Legitimately, these guys are just getting together and chatting, but they're doctors, and they actually do that. So it just made it doubly funny because we make jokes about it all the time.
Right. Yeah, no, I hear you. It's literally living up to the meme. It's a living meme at this point.
Back in the day when I used to have a old ex-military receiver, and I don't know whether it was my receiver that was drifting or Radio Moscow was really trying to attack Voice of America, but they used to co-phase over the top of each other on the 41 meter band. So 1 minute you'd be hearing "Do Fraternal Greetings," the "Welcome to the Glorious Republic," and the next thing you'd be hearing, "Where's so and so's jeans? Voice of America." And they used to just phase in and out of each other. It was hilarious. It was like they were having like battle mid radio.
Comment.
Go ahead, comment.
The funniest thing that's happened to me is I got warned before I ever did my first FT-8 that some guy at some point will come on an FT-8 discussion and tell me to get off of his frequency on FT-8.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That's people tell me you don't understand how FT8 works in one sentence. Get off my frequency. It's like, but it doesn't really work that way. A couple of comments here. Let's see. Where is it? So there's a question about the DigiRig devices. Obviously, we just finished the live stream talking about the Mobilinkd and some of the alternatives. And it's a really good question about RFinder. So Bob RFinder, I've had a couple dinners with Bob and hung out with Bob. He's a nice guy. I am not against the RFinder, but I have had one very specific request with the radio until I go get one, because it's not a cheap device. It's a very expensive device. And that is that it can do APRS. And I mean real, full-on APRS. And a couple of things have changed. I think he has started to line up with potentially supporting M17 in the future, which is great. And then also related to this question, how do you think any of the Digi stuff is going to work on the RFinder devices? He is working to get Direwolf to work on them. That would be great. That would be fantastic. I would love it if that radio could talk to the applications running on that Android device. That Android device can run APRS Droid. It can run WOAD or WOAD or whatever you want to call it. And that's a great email tool. And I want to see it. I've been wanting to see this for a couple of years now, and I know he's working on it. I know he's got a team of developers that are behind the scenes doing the good work there, but that's what I want to see. I want to see that work on the digital modes that I like, APRS and WinLink. So yeah. All right, any comments or questions on today's show? Mobilinkd, DigiRig, any of that stuff?
I ask it at the very end of the thing.
Oh, I might have missed it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. What about a Cantronics TNC?
Love them. Absolutely. I did 2 years ago, maybe, I did a live stream where we just talked about the Cantronics TNC and connecting it to a Linko DR135. It is my understanding. Okay, so here's the rumor mills going right now. I have told people, and I will continue to tell people, that the DR135, which is the 2-meter only Alinco radio, is one of the best radios that you can buy if you want a dedicated packet station, dedicated APRS station, packet, that whole thing. They became very difficult to get thanks to chip shortages and all that stuff. I have been told that Alinco is fixing that stuff, and they are either going to come out with a new radio, or they're going to bring back the DR130, that whole DR line. For those that don't know, Alinco has a line of radios that are monoband. So they've got a 70 centimeters model, a 220, a 2-meter, and a 6-meter. I don't know if they have a standalone 10-meter. If they did, that's probably also pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. But well, if it's FM only, 10 meters is not going to be sweet. So I take that back. But the 2-meter is great. If you have any interest in 220 and there's a 220 scene in your world, in your local world, their 220 radio is very good. But to go back to your comment, Don, the Cantronics KPC3 with the USB port in the back, awesome. And I just used a Raspberry Pi 3 to just do terminal node connections into it. Worked great. Great.
I have one of the original the MFJs TNCs from I bought it in 91 and I bought it used in 91. So I have one of those, but man, the connector on the back of that, I don't know how you connect that to a radio anymore.
The DB9?
No, it's like a DB25 or something like that. It's but it's not the serial port DB25. It's that same kind of connector we used to use in telecom.
Oh,
I can't remember. It's that weird old thing that had all these bell wires coming off of it, but it was a big D connector on it. It's got that and a lot of other dip switches I can't remember, but I still have the manual for it, so who knows. But by the way, the DR135 is available at HRO. A bunch of HROs have it.
I heard that that's an extremely limited supply, so maybe they're starting to come back out again. Yeah.
Well, and I've got a 435 that I'm using, but it's I'm using it for All-Star. And the problem with 2 meters or 440 is that it's not, you don't find a lot of other digital stuff on there.
Yeah. Black Lion Engineer says chip shortages, etc., are a lie. How many ships are still sitting over the West Coast, backed up and waiting to be unloaded? I actually live in the West Coast. I was just at the beach the other day, and there were not many ships. There was much less than it was in summer of this year. Now, that's not to say there isn't still a backup. The ports have a certain capacity, and they also have their own logistics issues. I think that it's not so much that it's a lie. It's that when we say chip shortage, it's an umbrella term that also means shipping container shortage, which was a real thing. They were literally not going back to China, so they weren't able to get picked up with new stuff because China's not buying our crap. And also all of the logistics of getting a container from the port on a truck or train to its location. It was all of it. So I'm with you. I just don't think it's a lie. I just think it's a bloated term that we used to say a lot of things. So, all right. Anyone else comments on today's live stream? Want to talk about APRS devices or DigiRig stuff, whatever?
A comment.
Yeah, Black Lion Engineer, you probably don't know me very well because I am an engineer as well. So I understand logistics better than most. That seems like a nose to Scotsman. I'm not arguing with you. I just think that it's more complicated than saying it's a lie. That's my thoughts.
Another comment.
Oh, go ahead, Paul.
I just want to say I didn't know once again that I needed something that I didn't know I needed. Until today. The little gadget at DX Engineering.
The Pico. It's expensive though. It's expensive. No lie.
Why? Come on. What's not?
Well, Paul. I mean, you're kind of like me. Well, maybe a little bit older, got some money to throw around. For the younger folks, $400. That's a whole FT5DR, right? That's a whole almost a top of the line handheld, and it's a 1 watt transmitter. I want to be really clear, right?
It's only 1 watt.
It's only 1 watt. Well, consider the size of the thing. Look at the.
Can I run it into my Zygu 125? Boost it up to about 80 watts.
I don't know.
But it's VHF UHF though, right?
You could use a Mirage.
No, it's VHF.
Yeah, VHF. So I mean, I don't know how the Elinco or the Zygu would work.
You could use a Mirage amp.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
And I believe RM Italy makes some 2 meter amps.
So the Shagu 125 amp, that's for HF. That doesn't do 2 meter.
Right.
Centimeters.
I've been trying to give away my X5105 and nobody wants. I mean, and that's a really nice radio. Nobody wants it, and that's more money than that. So it's like, what's the difference?
Oh, and we haven't talked about the demise of the 818 and the FTM-400.
I talked about it on the podcast, but I would love to talk about that.
I'm sorry to see the FTM-400 go. The 818 not so much. I mean, but I think the 891 outsells the 818 by a lot. But the 400 is a really nice radio. I looked at that in the 2730 when I first got a mobile radio, and I ended up getting the 2730 because it could do crossband.
Well, John talked about it. I think it was on Coffee and Ham Radios, but anyway, he talked about it, and he said that the FTM-400. Well, you've got the 300 and the 200. Those are not replacements for the 400. I'm sorry.
Not the same radio.
No.
Completely different screen, and the screen does make a big difference. It really does.
So why would they get rid of the 400? That's sort of like the
both of them,
the top of the line. Touch screen, color.
Both of them
didn't make any sense.
So, according to John, both of them were discontinued because of parts availability.
So they're using different stuff in the 300?
Yeah.
I kind of doubt it.
Well, they probably have to.
I don't doubt it because the FTM-400 is, when did it come out? 2012.
Yeah.
And the FTM-400 came out last year.
But it had an update.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
It had an update. Went from the D to the XD.
That was different GPS stuff.
But that's not. So there's no. And we'll talk logistics again. There's no reason to make huge changes to a product line. Just because you throw an XD on the back of it, it's only going to be a couple of features, and most of those I'm assuming are going to be like integrated devices, integrated functionality on a circuit board that they swap in and swap something out that they improved. The 400 is pretty much the same regardless of when you got it.
But they do have to go through the whole recertification process.
Of
As
course.
somebody else just pointed out,
I'm not.
That's the same thing when they went from the 817 to the 818. They had to
neither
recertify.
here nor there. That's neither here nor there from my point of view. You have to do that if you're going to change it. And Scott mentions that the update was in 2017. That's 5 years older than the FTM-300. So yes, I expect that the 300 is very different because last year, and I think leading up to this, Yaesu kind of decided to do away with any reliance on manufacturing of chips and components that they did not have large control of. And that's why they were able to push out so many radios last year.
I can't blame them, though.
No, I don't at all.
That was really smart.
You can
so are they going to replace it?
We don't know.
Yeah, John can't say, and nobody I mean, we don't know what Kenwood's going to do either. I mean, it's they can't say and they won't say.
Yeah, this is a really good point from Ted. So Ted, we have examples of this in a couple of ways. The ICOM ID52 had to go through a redevelopment to get away from chips that also became harder to get. And I'm saying harder to get, meaning demand went up, cost went up associated to that, meaning the margins of that product went down. So they actually went back in and changed some of the chip design to get away from the chips that they were in hot competition with, right? The same thing happened with the transition from the FT3DR to the FT5DR. The FT3DR was only a couple years in the retail production environment, and they decided to stop producing that and bring out the FT5. It was not at end of life. The general argument, which I've heard many people reiterate, I am reiterating what I'm told, I'm not just making this up, is 5 years. 5 years is about how long a radio needs to be on the market before it's like totally just making money for the companies, recouped all expenses, blah, blah, blah. So the FT3 being stopped production and going to the 5 is a textbook example of they had to get away from something. There was something in their production chain that was costing them too much or was leading to extended wait periods, so they had to update them.
Well, what John said is that they stopped production because they wanted to make sure that any radios that were sold, you bought a radio yesterday, they would be able to fix it. And I'm sure they have some sort of metric. So whatever components they would need to be able to repair, I'm sure it's probably like 20% or 10% or something like that. Yeah. But they be able to have the parts in order to do that, and that makes sense. I get that.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, they still have parts available for the 857D.
They do.
So they have done their logistics pretty well in the past.
And most of the companies do. I'm not saying Yaesu's got the, they're all thinking about this. This is all something that factors in. Now, the thing that I find interesting is the 818, right? So let's talk about the lineage there. How long is that? 20 plus years. That radio can drink, okay, at least in its standard form. I know that it did go through an update with the 818 or whatnot, but the 817 has been around for a really, really long time. And
the 817, the 857, and the 897 all came out at the same time.
Right. But the 818 has tested, the span of time and is still running, right, as the 818, but whatever. So for them to say, we're going to get rid of this radio that's been around forever and has a fairly, I don't want to say niche, but has a loyal following of people, and people continue to find it because it is such just a universally useful radio. The fact that they're putting that out of production, I truly believe is because they do have an issue with the parts. It has to be, because why would you stop producing something that you have proven that you can consistently make and is consistently making money? Because they're selling them. They've been selling them for a long time. So it has to be a shortage. It has to be.
I mean, that's the Kenwood TS50 was the same way. The 706, the ICOM IC 706 and 706 Mark II, they were those were all kind of the same thing. They
100%.
were very popular. People would hunt. People still hunt those radios.
If I find a 706 Mark II G, I'm at a decent price. I'm buying it sight unseen.
Yeah, and and I remember when they came out with the 706 because I was working for AES in Vegas, and we were the first store to get our hands on one. They literally brought it over from California, and our technician at the time, Bob, first thing he did was tear it apart and wanted to see how it worked.
Mm-hmm. So James asked a good question. Were they not selling? I assume you mean the 818. So that's the interesting thing about this is I'm sure the intensity of sales of the 818 has gone down, but they have probably honed their production to the point that it was very cost effective in making it, that they're just like, when the demand shot up on some number of components, that they probably just had to say, look, this is really not going to be profitable for much longer. We should probably back off of both of it, make sure we have the components on hand to take care of everybody. But also, yeah, they have faced, the 818 specifically, in its current incarnation, has faced a ton of increased competition. And I'm not going to say the 705 specifically, although that's like my favorite radio, because that's like twice the price. But if you look at the Chinese, the effect of the G90, the G90 probably kneecapped the sales for the 818. And yeah, it doesn't have VHF, UHF, and single sideband on the high band stuff. But that radio being $450, I'm sure ate away at a lot of the market share that the 818 was going after. But, and as I was reminded today when I was at the HRO, they were talking about how there really isn't that many single sideband 2-meter radios out there aside from the 818. At its price point, right? There's really nothing that is at that price point.
Yep.
Which, I mean, it's a very good universal radio. It does all the things. It doesn't have a lot of power, but who cares? Put up a better antenna and you'll still make contacts.
What else is there, Josh? I'm curious.
Not at that price point. I don't know of one. You've got the 7100, but I just saw that at HRO. That's back in stock at HRO. It's $1,000 for the 7100.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when that was like, I think on the high 700 mark at the Black Friday sales before COVID, 2019. I think that's what the 7100 was going for. I'm kicking myself I didn't buy it.
Nothing replaced the 857 though, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, because well, it depends. If you ask John, I'm sure he'd point you at like the 891, which he's not wrong for HF. That I would much rather use the 891 over the 857 for HF.
But I mean that. So I mean, technically, the 857 and the 897 are the same radio. Well, they share a lot of components. Yeah. Almost the only thing that's different really is the chassis is bigger and the screen size is a little bigger. But, so that's why a lot of those components could be, used 857, 897, whatever, because the boards are the same inside.
Mm-hmm.
But the 817 and 818, okay, that's a direct upgrade because it's, the QRP radio, basically. The 857 was 100 watts, just like the 897.
Yeah, I when you get to the watt angle, I mean, the 818 is much smaller than the 857. It is considerably a smaller radio. It's way more portable. I have both of them. I can do a size comparison if you want me to.
Yeah, I'm curious because I wonder how the 857. It's got to be pretty similar in size to the 897, other than the space for the battery components. So, which nobody ever bought.
So that's an interesting comment from Zach. The 857 was replaced by the 991. See, I don't.
But it's bigger. The 991 is bigger.
Right.
The 897 was replaced by the 991.
Right.
But the 857 was the portable. And there's nothing that does what the 857 did in any lineup at that size. There's nothing that does that at that form factor. Nothing.
And what's funny about it is they still make the antenna for it.
Well, yeah, because the 891 uses it.
Yeah. Well, and so does the FTX10 and the 991 and so they're
why would you not have your radios use that antenna if they can? The 991 can
the ATOS?
Yeah, the ATOS.
Yeah, the ATOS 120.
Oh, what's up?
Man, that's a great antenna.
Mike's in the house. I didn't see any YouTubers, so we'll go and do a YouTuber shout out. I think he's the only one in the house.
What you guys are forgetting something.
I've been waiting to talk to Mike about the 818, so that he can jump in here anytime.
You guys are forgetting something.
What am I forgetting?
The mobile radio, the 891, 857, right, is a new radio, right?
Well, the 891 is new.
Hang on, it's a new size of radio. That size of radio only came out in the mid-90s with like the original 706. The original mobile radio is like the 991 size. That is supposed to be a mobile radio.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a desktop. That's your mobile radio. The 857 and the 9 are micro radios because cars got
you're
smaller.
An old school like me because
cars got smaller, so they made the radios smaller.
When I bought my 897, and I think it was 2008. When I bought my 897, I bought it. I'm like, I don't like this. I like the bigger screen and blah blah blah. My intention is to use it as a mobile. I have a cable in it because to me, and people are like, oh, that's not a mobile rig. Well, my 430, my 440, whatever, I don't remember anymore. That's considered a mobile rig. My Yaesu FT-101, that's a beast, has a 12-volt power plug available for it, or did back in the 70s. That was a mobile radio.
Let me steer the ship a second. So let me reply to Ted really quickly. I was at HRO today in Anaheim. They had the 7100 in stock. If you'd like to call them, get one. There's your answer. You don't know what I saw? I saw the 7100 in stock at the HRO in Anaheim. So call them. Now, so Mike, I agree with you. I was always focused on form factor. I wasn't going any larger than the 857 as far as form factor of this discussion, and we were by and large talking about the 818. I want to get Mike in here to talk about his thoughts, but I will say I feel like I am not of impeachable objectivity when it comes to the 818 because I bought that totally just out of the blue. The radio I had failed on me. I ran to the Gigaparts in Las Vegas because I needed to do a POTA. And yes, I do have the luxury that I could just buy a radio, and I bought the 818. And my thought was, I at least have to try this radio. I haven't owned it in any incarnation. And frankly, I expected to not really like it when I went out to do the POTA. I took it out. I did the POTA. I really liked it. I think that it does a couple of things really well. It is super universal, so it does a lot of things. It's fairly easy to use. The menu system, of course, the Deep F menu still exists. It's all that stuff. But yeah, I'm literally someone who walked in not really wanting to like it. I literally was putting myself into a situation where I was like, yeah, I'll just try it. It's the cheapest QRP radio that Gigaparts had at that location in Las Vegas. So that's what I ran with. And I had a great time. And I still like it, and I upgraded it, and I did a whole video on it, how I appreciate it for what it is and what it does. Yeah. Mike, do you want to add thoughts to it? Because I know you're you're somewhat in the same camp as I am, I think.
What camp is that?
I'm surprised this radio is as cool as it is. The 818.
So okay, yeah. So I need to before we get into radios, I just want to tell you nerds.
Yes.
That I kissed a girl tonight.
What? Did you like it?
Just gonna throw that out there. And
was she conscious?
She was totally conscious, aware. It was not. It was mutual.
You cooties.
Even better.
And she's not after your YouTube fame?
You don't know. You really don't know.
Undecided at this point.
Oh, Mike, we're so proud of you.
Yeah, it was.
And what time did you let her out of the cage?
Well, she's still in there.
Well, yeah, that was part of the.
Why would I have to let her out? There's bars.
Yeah, well, you need her for tomorrow.
You cooties.
Exactly. It's the weekend. So I bought the 818 the day that it was announced that it was
out of production.
Not out of production. Thank you. Just listen to that episode of the podcast today too, Josh.
Thank you.
It's my privilege. And also Podophiles. Hi, everyone.
Podophiles. Yes.
Love that. So I bought the radio. So I've never used the 818 or the 817 ever. Like I've held it in my hands. I've seen it in person, but I've never used it.
Same.
And I bought it because I was like, you know what? This is like really
it's a watershed radio.
It's more of like it's been around for like 20 freaking years. It's got such a great following. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's got to be a reason that so many people love this radio so much.
Yes.
And I the first YouTube channel that I started watching, Tony K9ARV.
That's right.
He had the 817 and he would take it out in the park or wherever and like just make a contact or two, and he was happier than a pig and you know what.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, I got to get it. So yesterday I took it out on its maiden POTA voyage. I tweeted about it. I filmed a video, so I'll have that out probably Wednesday. And I got the park activated in 6 minutes. Mm-hmm. Not too shabby for 5 watts. I was using a K6ARK antenna. I had commissioned Adam to make me a special antenna.
Yes.
For the G90. I actually wanted a 9-to-1 because the tuner in the G90 is just amazing. But I'd never actually used the antenna. I went to use it once, and I was doing FT-8. I was doing a POTA FT-8, and I was getting some kind of RFI back, and it was causing all kinds of computer issues. So I ended up using the PAC-10. So first time with the radio, first time with that antenna, and it just absolutely killed it. Now I do have a set, the ATU-10, this tiny little portable. Crap! I need to charge that. This little tuner, and so I called CQ. I think 2, maybe 3 times tops, and then the pileup came. Got 17 contacts. And I left because I had to get down to my buddy's house by like 3 o'clock or something. So I called it about like 1:30. He was about an hour away from me. So
good. We need all these details.
We do. He lives in Kingwood, Texas.
Thank you.
The speaker
without traffic.
Yeah, I need this in military time too, please.
Well, so we're going down I-45 where I live is nothing. So and then you get into Conroe and you get off the freeway. So traffic wasn't a big deal. Anyway, the speaker is surprisingly loud.
Yes.
I was quite impressed with that. I was like, am I gonna have to struggle to hear this thing? Nope. I was very happy with it. Now having an S0 noise floor is not a bad thing. Like everyone, now obviously this is more antenna, but most of the signals that I heard were like S9, S8, S9, like they were like everyone was banging in. There was a few low ones, but it was a real pleasure. I got great audio reports. People told me I sounded great, and I was given good signal reports. So I mean, my first impressions of the radio are very high. It's unfortunate that it's discontinued. It is what it is. I'm sure Yaesu is going to come out with something. I would be shocked if they didn't. They've released, I think, 5 radios in the last 2 years. So somehow Yaesu is still managing to create radios where all of the other companies, well, I guess ICOM really is the only other one. ICOM hasn't done anything. In fact, they're just getting rid of radios. They're not creating anything new. I mean, Kenwood's kind of been out for a while now, so I don't really. Do we even talk about Kenwood anymore? I don't know.
Well, but, they also were a byproduct of the chip shortage. That's why the D74 stopped in production.
Yeah, but Kenwood is so much more of a company than just amateur radio. Like, I've known about Kenwood forever just because of their stereos and stuff.
Right.
Car stereos, home stereos, all that kind of stuff. So I think ham radio is just kind of this little redheaded stepchild of their company, I'm sure. So they probably don't really care that much. Like, whatever. But the menus are the menus. It's Yaesu, but it's not. And surprisingly, the manual is actually written pretty well. Some of the menus, like ICOM and Yaesu, I think their menus could use. Their menus could be better. They don't really go into any detail as far as what things are or what they do. They're just like, here's the function and here's how you turn it on or off. So they don't really define anything. But I was actually pretty surprised. And I want to note, so the battery sucks. We all know that. I feel they really missed the boat when they made the 818. They could have just, they made it a little bit larger capacity, but it's nickel. Freaking, what is it? Nickel
cadmium.
Cadmium.
No, it's not nickel cadmium. It's nickel metal hydride.
Yeah,
it's rechargeable. Yep.
They're crap, right? It's an old technology.
Right.
They could have very easily made lithium AA's in it and done the exact same thing. So I think they missed the boat on that.
Sure.
As far as one thing that like every single person I think that has the 818 has done, and I'm surprised that I don't care about this at all, is that power pole adapter. I have zero desire to put that power pole adapter on here.
I understand that. I think I was just going to, once you're done talking, I'm going to go to the size comparison. I think we have to all agree that having a pigtail off the back of your radio must stop immediately. The 857 has that. I hate that.
What do you mean pigtail?
It's literally got a power pigtail out the back. There's not a connector.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
The 897 does not.
No, well, of course not. It's like it's
Wait,
it's
what are you calling a pigtail?
It's literally got a 4 inches of wire with the power connector coming out the back.
It's a point of failure, is what it is.
Oh yeah, and it's a nightmare to put in a bag. You could watch me on YouTube, Mike. I'm live streaming on YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah, I just got home from kissing a girl. So
hey,
he's bragging.
Hey.
So yeah, like I'm totally fine. So I immediately cut the power cable. Actually, so all of my Yaesus, my VX7R, my FT5, and this all use the same coaxial plug, that tiny little oddball sized plug.
That's the reason. It's an
totally
oddball plug.
Fine with that.
It's an oddball plug.
But they all I put power poles on the plug, on the wire. So
I understand,
it's like,
but it's one more thing to lose. This goes back to the 12-volt laptop and the whole thing. Like, if everything's power pole, then you just need power pole jumpers, and then you're good.
When I wish I could comment to you when you're having the podcast, because when you're talking about that 12-volt laptop, all I'm thinking is like, until you've experienced the nicety of having a 12-volt laptop and just plugging it in, you don't know what you're missing.
Go watch my Alex Loop video. I did talk about that.
I did watch that video.
Yeah, that was me just like, look how amazing this is. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
But my thing is, so like in Big Geek, in Little Geek, on my workbench, and I have an extra. So I have like 4 of those same Yaesu power cords. So they're always with me because I'm always going to have my HT, and I'm always going to have my battery box. So like for me, because I'm like, I own, I think 5 Yaesu radios right now. It's not in short supply. So not having a power pole on the back isn't a big deal to me, because then I'd still have to bring a wire that has power poles on it, which I don't generally have with me.
Sure.
So you still have to bring a wire.
Sure. I'm not. I guess what I'm saying is I'd rather have more of a universal standard being that Anderson plug in the back than the oddball power lead that the 818 has. I don't like that power lead. That's also the problem I have with a ton of little QRP. Ton of QRP radios have little tiny power leads that bug the crap out of me.
Yeah, but every radio has its own, power plug. So radios don't have power poles on them, unfortunately.
Well,
okay.
They changed for decades, the standard on HF radios was the same connector. That connector that you've got on the end of that, was the same whether you have a Kenwood, ICOM, or a Yaesu HF rig. The 6, I think it's a 6 conductor Molex connector.
4 now, but yeah.
Well, on my DX10, I was so mad that it had the 4. I'm like, why did they change it? Because I already have the 6 in my car. I couldn't use it in the car.
Because.
And I have spare ones. It's like I bought extra of those cables.
Did Flex uses power pole? Is that true, Don?
Yes.
Oh,
and
my
goodness. So does Sun SDR,
oh my goodness.
And so does Anand. And here's the thing about Anand that everybody hates. They actually, for God knows what reason, they reverse the black and the red.
Oh, that's worse. That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's nightmare fuel. That's horrible.
Yeah. Everybody opens them up. Everybody opens them up and flips it over. It's that simple. But why they do it like that from the factory, nobody can explain it.
I just haven't been sucked into the cult of the power pole. I'm a reject.
Somebody commented they prefer the other connector, the little RC car diagonal connector. I like that connector too. In fact, I think it's probably a better connector. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't care. I just said standardize it. I don't care that much.
Well, I mean, it kind of was though. Like I said, most of the mobiles, like your VHF, UHF rigs, have the T connector. I mean, at least in the Japanese market.
The T connector sucks. It's so.
You don't like that
plasticky. No, where's the comment? The DTP connector.
The one of my amplifiers has an XT60 on it, and KK6USY Chuck likes the XT60 over the power pole. Don't know why, but
I think it is a better connector. I've not done any research on it.
But you can just solder an XT60 on. You don't need a special crimping tool.
I mean, you don't need a special crimping tool for a power pole.
Whatever these guys are, this guy.
Smush it.
The RC battery connectors. The RC battery connectors are better. Are they? The XT60 is the better connector. I think so.
Oh, okay.
And they're keyed. Keying is always very good. Keying would be why I give this the nod. But at the same time, I don't have that big a deal with power poles. I really don't. I think.
But if you went to those, then how went on and reverse them? Sorry.
They take the pins out and switch them. Yeah, I guess.
But by the way, you do know there is a mobile bracket for the FTDX10, right?
Well, sure, but everybody should be putting their base station in their cars. I'm on board with that. Go back to my Extreme Hams. Billy Bob from Anaheim HRO has got a 7300 in a smart car.
I'm going to put the 7610 in my car.
Yeah.
On the dash.
So I want to get to the size thing, and then we'll come back to this because I don't think we're done with the discussion on the 818. But Mike, you want to mention anything? You're one of I think you're the only YouTuber that's on the voice here. You want to mention anything about your YouTube channel coming up next week, just so everybody knows?
Well, I need to film 2 more videos for next week, but what the hell was the subject? There was a good question. So on Mailbag Monday, as soon as I film part of it.
Yes.
Somebody asked me about using battery for backup and how to set up your station and is this West Mountain radio thing worth it and all that. So
hell yeah.
I show how to DIY it. I looked at that West Mountain thing. If you need the solar, go ahead. But so I show another way to do it that's a hell of a lot cheaper. So that should be right up Ham's alley. And then we have the activation for my first use of the 818. I did an unboxing video too, and I'll probably just scrap that. That's kind of stupid. I unboxed it and then I'm like, how do I use the radio? And then I kind of just stopped recording and never came back to it.
So the transfer switch, love the idea. So if you can do it cheaper, I'm sure people will like that. That's awesome. But yeah, I have an Epic Power Gate. It's great.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And then I bought a charger for the FT5 off of Amazon because I just couldn't bring myself to spend $42 for the Yaesu one. So for the last 4 or 5 days, I've been charging and discharging my FT5. That son of a bitch is really hard to discharge. I've got all the lights on. I'm beaconing APRS full power every 30 seconds just to drain the battery.
Why are you doing that?
So I can charge it because I'm showing charging with the stock charger, charging with this. So it's a fast charger, quote unquote, that I bought.
Oh,
so I wanted to show
the drop-in.
Yeah. But it's not it's just some one I found on Amazon. It's not like the Yaesu brand. Okay. It looks exactly the same.
Hey, Mike,
though.
do you want to know something fun about that radio?
I would love to know something fun about that radio.
It takes 12 volts, 13.8.
I know. It's actually currently charging 13.8 volts right now. So
Yaesu just sells the lead. You can just buy the lead and put a power pole on the end.
What do you think I did with the wire from the charger? I cut it.
Sure. But I
want all wires, put power poles.
I want one on my drop-in, the regular charger, and then I want a field one. So I bought the power lead. It's like $6.
But I could just cut the wire.
Yeah, but then that's one extra thing you have to disconnect and reconnect later. It's $6. You have another lead. I am a big proponent of having multiple power solutions.
Dude, I've
so you
got
don't have to go ripping away your desk to get the lead out.
I have 4 wires just for Yaesu. So I'm not short on any of them.
Okay.
I don't need another one. So so I'm good there. So I'm showing charging with the stock charger, with the drop-in charger plugged into 13 volts, and with this new charger. So I like 4 different ways, and I'm time lapsing them all. So I can kind of show the different ways and what works best. So I'm doing that. It's just a fun little experiment. Why not?
I love it.
So that's what I have coming up in the K8 MRD radio stuff YouTube channel. Oh, and then Technician Tuesday.
Yeah. I was bummed we couldn't make a contact. I tried this week.
I know.
We were flying over each other's heads. I was going way past you.
It was just going back and forth. It wasn't. But then that Hotel India station came back, and I'm like, all right, see you, Josh.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, so that's doing very well. I'm happy that there's so many people. I just got an email from someone, or it was a comment rather, from my video that I just did on Friday about like just 10-meter radios that you can get for under $650. The cheapest one was like $260. And at the end, I'm like, also just get on the repeater, talk to people in your club or nearby, and like, hey, does anybody have a used radio they'd be willing to get rid of? And that's how I got my first HF radio. And someone commented, she's like, I took your advice. I got on the repeater, and someone's loaning me their radio until I find one, or they might sell it to me, whatever. I was like, that's great. So it's working. We're helping more people get on the air. That's the goal.
That's right.
So
the time is now. Everybody get on 10 meters. If you're hearing my voice, you should be on 10 meters. Every morning, wake up. When you wake up, have a cup of coffee, get in front of the radio, and make some contacts. You would be surprised who you get to talk to.
Yep. Or 3 p.m. Central on Tuesday.
That's correct. Also, always go on Mike's live stream. Make sure you can try and make a contact with him.
Good evening, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you, Mr. Shane. How are you doing?
Hey, good evening. Hey, Mike, I just want to let you know that I got a batch of QSL cards in from Gigaparts, and your name is on one of them with the stamp ready to go in the mail.
You bought QSL cards from Gigaparts?
I did.
Yeah, they sell them now.
Yeah, they've
and
got
hats
that
and signs and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Not to say their cards aren't good. They're probably very good, but you should all support Amanda from Ham Nation.
My next cards are going to be
Get
from
your
Amanda.
cards from Amanda.
Yeah.
And I bet you she's cheaper. Whatever it is, whoever you're competing against, she's probably cheaper.
Yeah, I was on the air with Amanda the other day. She was on HF for ARRL something or other, and I mentioned to her that you and I had talked about her the night before. So.
Yeah. Her cards are
the
best cards for the price that you can get, from my point of view. Until someone shows me something, I've bought cards from multiple cheap QSL cards, whatever. They're not bad. None of the manufacturers are bad. I'm not saying anything against that. But Amanda is literally, she will build the design for you, taking your pictures. She will make fantastic cards, and they're very inexpensive.
Yeah, she's a ham, and she's an active DXer, and
so her job. She has a printing company. Her family has a printing company, and she does fantastic cards. I will grab the link and I'll post it in the show notes here, or the description.
Well, I just wanted to let Mike know I have a QSL card for him. That's all.
Well, that's fantastic. I look forward to it. I personally do not have QSL cards. I'm more of a digital guy, like Logbook of the World, QRZ.
You don't do QSL cards, really?
Mike.
I have. I
Get
don't.
on board with this old guys.
I don't.
It was for that park, man.
I have my business card that I printed, like QSL card on the back of it. So if anyone, really the only time I send out QSL cards is if they put an envelope in it. Not always, but
see, now I'm gonna have to do a video on QSL cards.
It's an old tradition. It's not really
my
thing.
There's nothing like getting there's just nothing like getting an actual physical, tangible something from somebody or halfway around the world that you got in the mail.
I got the contact.
Yeah,
to me, that's what matters.
I know, and again, I don't know.
I give them, I save them. I have a box that they all go in.
By the rules, Mike, you haven't finished the contact until the card appears.
Oh, jeez.
That's the rules. I don't make the rules.
I have to stay on the radio with the guy until I get the postcard in the mail.
Yep.
I'm now learning that Mike is literally the most orthodox ham that we have in the chat. After
I've got a special hat, and everything.
Last week with Mike talking about, or not, it was probably the week before that, when we were talking about the 10-meter radios that you could hold a button down and it does CB. Mike lost his mind on that concept. That was not acceptable, not allowed. And I'm not against you, Mike,
what?
But that was a big deal.
You could hold a button down. What?
So that, by the way, you're the cheap, what was it, the Anytone? The 6666?
Yeah.
So if you hold down menu, I have the radio, by the way. I'm working on a review for it. If you hold down menu and like band or something like that and turn it on, it puts it into CB. It's just straight CB.
That's great.
Yeah, well, Mike disagrees with you. That's not acceptable.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me, Mike.
No, UK Mike. UK Mike.
G0 RFD Mike.
Sorry, UK Mike. I know we got a lot of people.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck are you saying? Who cares about that? I have a freaking Redivus.
I'm sorry.
I have a Redivus VHF UHF radio in my shack right now because my TYT died, and it was sent to me as a GMRS radio. Mm-hmm. You hold the VM button down while you turn it on, and you can put it on, like, you can just open it wide up, so it's like 130 to 174 megahertz, and then you get VHF, UHF. It's just a software thing. Who cares?
And UK Mike, I'm not taking the piss. I'm not giving you any slack for that. I appreciate you sticking to the rules and at least calling it out when it's running afoul, and then allowing us to decide if we want to make that decision or not.
Technically, once you've made that mod to that Redivus, then it's no longer Part 90 certified or whatever.
It's the same radio as the ham radio they sell.
But
technically,
I could do it live.
I don't give a damn.
I could do it live right now, and I'd be breaking the law.
It works like the exact same.
I did it on my video.
Do you have the radio?
It seems like the same firmware as the Baofeng.
No, not the Anytone. No.
The GMRS is what he's talking about.
Yeah. If it's certified for GMRS and you do that once you put it on the ham bands, well, we're allowed to do that because Part 97 covers us. But what if can you put it back? and is it still considered type accepted?
I don't
at
care.
That point. I know.
Call the bad Nazis.
I mean, just wait for the guys on QRZ.
Have him direction find me.
Yeah, you better be careful.
I saw that.
He's got that. He upgraded from me, the DF person, to a 5 antenna SDR tracking tool. That thing's like $500. Cool. That SDR tool.
Yes,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, a bunch of guys in our club have them for fox hunting because we do fox hunting literally every week.
That would be a trip to do fox hunting with that. You'd be able to get on that fast with that.
Well, you can get there, but then what I understand
you still
is
handheld it. Yeah.
Yeah, you still have to handheld it when you get close.
No, I'm just driving through a park with kids. Just put it into 4 low. That's Randy in the Jeep. He's just driving through the park.
Does it have an adjustable sensitivity, or is it?
No.
You could
have to still use them.
You could definitely add an offset attenuator to that. Well, I don't know. It's 5 antenna leads, and I think they all go direct in. So you'd have to like attenuate all of them, which seems like a nightmare. So maybe not.
And doesn't it go into 5 different dongles, and then the dongles go into a single part that puts them all together?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it's probably a preamp. I'm guessing
it's measuring the time difference between the two, that and using trigonometry
between all 4 or 5.
Yeah.
That's
how it's figuring out direction.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, there's no way to attenuate all 5 antennas because they're going into 5 separate SDRs.
Well,
so you'd have to literally put an attenuator on all 5 of the radars,
and they'd have to be identical.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't work correctly.
And our guys don't do that. They simply use it to do the gross finding, and then they use their HTs
with an attenuator.
Yeah. Most of them actually don't do that. Most of them use a different frequency, so they'll go on harmonic rather than use an attenuator.
So Scott says it uses Doppler shift. I don't believe that's true. I think it uses time difference on arrival, TDO.
Yeah,
they're all
using the same.
Together.
It's using the same thing that like how you calculate your GPS calculates where you're at. It's comparing the received signal,
which is time difference on arrival. It's not Doppler.
Right.
Anyway, okay, let's do a size comparison since I dragged out the 818 and the 857. So for those of you who are curious, right? So the 818 is sitting on top of the 857. If you didn't catch that, and just as a complete ridiculous point, here's the Pico APRS. We'll just put that right on top. Come on, let it go.
You really need a little tiger tail thing for it.
It's crazy. I have to twist it up. There you go. There's the Pico APRS. Okay, so let's get this stuff out of the way.
Well, the FTM-400 or the F or never mind.
So there's the that's the. So I did add the pterosaur, the P pterosaur connectors there. The little standoff.
Is that the Petrosaur?
No, it's the P pterosaur. And
you're changing the name again.
That's right. You can see that it's the 857 is much longer on both ends. So if I backed it up to so antenna connector to antenna connector kind of thing, the 818 is much shorter than the 857. And then width wise, if I hold them up here, the 818 is probably, again, remove these little side arms from the discussion. It's probably about an inch shorter on the width. And here's that pigtail. Oh, God, I hate this thing. So that's the power connector on the 857. It's literally a pigtail. Like when people talk about this is literally what they mean when they're talking a pigtail. This is horrible. This is nightmare fuel. This is going to get replaced. This is going to get replaced with a power pole because look, it's literally likely ground or something, and then you're hot and you're neutral or whatever, positive, negative, to a 5-pin, technically a 6-pin connector. Why? This is ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. And then it has the 2 antenna.
Well, there's two of those are hot and 2 of those are your ground.
But you don't need that.
Why?
But all it's going into is a power connector that is going to 2 leads. That's the factory power connector.
Probably to help standardize that 6-pin connector.
Yeah,
like I said, my old Kenwood TS430 uses the same connector.
Now, where does UHF VHF come out on the 818?
You select it as either the front or the back, and
so it's the same connector as HF.
Yeah, but only one. So that's actually one of my favorite things about that radio is there is a BNC in the front and a SO239 in the back, and you can switch them. Meaning one will be VHF and the other will be HF, and you can switch them. Boom, boom, back and forth.
Oh, okay. You can't set it to be the same one.
No, you cannot.
And here's the reason that, like on the 857, if you're connecting it to the ATOS, you have to buy a diplexer or duplexer, whichever one it is.
Sure.
In order to connect it to the ATOS.
Isn't one got is slightly attenuates? Well, I think isn't the front panel one slightly less power?
I don't know. I would be surprised because it's QRP. Nobody really cares.
Yeah, I think one is like full power and one is slightly less because of the run.
BNC would probably be slightly less power.
But someone did tell me, but I can't remember. So
if that's true, that's a manufacturing thing or a design thing. It doesn't have to be. We're talking QRP here. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I was watching N4H&H's ATOS review, and I did not know there's a special ATOS menu that you can create that allows you to slightly adjust the tuning on it. Yeah.
Well, so good thing on that. You don't have to use the menu. When you have an ATOS antenna and it's configured correctly to control the radio, and I'm talking the 891 here, if you hold down the PTT and you use the top up and down frequency buttons, that'll adjust the SWR, the physical up and down of the antenna. You can do it manually. Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't need the menu.
I've actually not, like, every time I've used it, I get like below 1.5 to 1 every time on every band. I don't know how the hell it does it.
Yeah, I'm with I guess I'm with Mike on this one too. The ATOS is a pretty fine antenna. I didn't
really realize
time with it.
I didn't realize the front panel of the 857 was so different from the 897. That surprises me.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got that purple button though. We should lobby Yaesu to bring back the purple button somewhere on every one of their radios.
Is that the power button?
Heck yeah. Well, they do multiple things on the radios, but yeah, it's the power button. And they need
push
to bring,
and hold, right?
They need to bring back the power button for everything. On all of it. Even their HF radios. Purple power button everywhere. Or purple button somewhere. I don't care. James is asking about the display comes off of the 857. Yeah. 818, no.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Josh.
Do you know what the purple button thing is about?
The purple, so you can see them. So
it denotes different manufacturers. Because Yaesu is not one manufacturer. That's made by one brand. The bigger radios are made by a different brand.
Oh, I don't care. I'm just saying Yaesu, as a company, needs to bring back the purple button. Put it on all the radios.
Yeah, my DX10 doesn't have a purple button on it.
Nothing does out of this era. Once they got out of this era of radios, that's it.
My 101D doesn't have it either.
I like the purple button.
Because that's a different company. Might have Yaesu on it, but it's a different brand of Yaesu. It's a different.
By the way, if you today wanted to buy a brand new knobs and buttons radio, what would you get?
What's my price limit, Don?
I don't care. For me, I don't care. Unless I wouldn't go to the $13,000 range, but
knobs and buttons and HF.
Yeah,
we're talking HF.
Yeah. Well, I don't know of a VHF UHF that's
FT-101D has a crap load of buttons and dials.
Yeah, I know. I have one. I love it. But I was thinking, other than that, the Kenwood is the only other one.
I'm jealous. That's what I liked about the 101D is, oh man, all the buttons and knobs, everything's there. I love it.
Yeah.
Can you still get 9000s? I think you can still get 9000s now.
They're no longer made. no longer available. Now, by the way, Mike, G0 Mike, the 818 is available at Mark and Lynch.
Yeah, now he's got 35 of them, or he did when he did his advert yesterday.
Yep.
Oh, so
he can keep them. I hate the things.
So Black Lion, another good comment there. It's funny to listen to Hammers cry about power connectors, etc., having my comms background come from the military. So this is something that I can also get behind. The ratcheting connector on so many military comms is a nightmare to deal with. And I mean the twist-on connector that has like clicks, like detents, absolute nightmare. By the way, James, calm down. Day outdoors. I heard the question. Day outdoors, hang out. I got the question. You can't drive the chat just by spamming take the question over and over again. There's people talking. We'll get there. Don't worry. It's also a tough question to answer just straight up without any background that he gave us. So just chill. We'll get there. But okay, thank you. Go ahead. Mike, go back to you.
I forgot what you said now.
Oh, okay, never mind. That's all right.
Power connector. But
yeah,
in telecom, we use power pole all the way up to 100 amps. So
yeah, yeah, I hear you, Lion. That's Lion. That's if you've not experienced military connectors, that's a whole different world of what the hell is going on. Particularly if they've been on for too long and you got to break out the wrench and get them all sorted out. It's kind of a mess. But yeah, I hear you. Okay, so with that said, Day Outdoors ask a question, and James very much wants this question answered. What is the best radio for a beginner? Boy, howdy, have I answered this question in many forms, in many different ways.
Yes.
Mike has. We've all of us collectively have probably fielded this question before. So here's the problem. Day Outdoors, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're watching live while we're talking about this. We need to know, what is your budget? What do you want to do with the radio? Because if you answer those questions, because to me, and maybe other people in this chat, a radio is a tool. We need to point you to the direction of the tool that will do the job you're trying to do. So price and who are you trying to talk to, or what are you trying to do with it, and how far do you want to go? How many fars do you want, right? As Randy would say. So if you're watching, hit us up with the response. Otherwise, we'll just tell you Baofeng and send you on your way.
UV5R, man.
Well, yeah, I know you're talking HT, a mobile, an HF rig. What are you talking?
Exactly, Jeff. Exactly. So
then can we talk about what's the best antenna?
Oh, yes, please, Mike. Let's get into that. Let's definitely get into that.
We haven't gone down that rabbit hole in a while.
True. But the answer to that comes from Lord Callum, right?
Callum would definitely be on the list. He would definitely be on the list. It just depends. Like, do I want an antenna that I can put up in under 15 minutes? Do I want the best antenna and time is of no option? Do I want? Am I under budget? Am I building it myself? There's just so many.
Do I have a 60-foot tower in the backyard?
Day Outdoors. Okay, so good. He came back with under $500 for emergency situations and backpacking trips. So my bad. I should have asked more clarifying questions. You should really just join us on the Discord so you can get on the voice chat and answer these immediately. But are you a ham radio operator? And if not, are you planning on getting licensed? And then how far do you want to transmit? Because right now this just screams VHF, UHF, and particularly emergency situations, that kind of stuff. We got all kinds of space we can talk about, but I need to know some of those facts though. There you go.
And depends on how deep in the woods you are.
How deep? Yeah, those.
Yeah, I mean, you could ask: Are you looking for HF? Are you looking for VHF, UHF? Yeah. What do you?
Well, that's why I go with range. Like, how far do you want to transmit? Because
I do G90.
Some people don't know the difference between VHF, UHF, HF, all that stuff. Those are all acronyms. So very high frequency, ultra high frequency, and high frequency. They all have different ranges. VHF, UHF is mostly line of sight. HF is beyond line of sight.
He probably does 30 words a minute.
If he does, then that's even easier. I can get so backpacking emergency comm CW. Oh yeah, we can talk about that.
Mountain topper.
Yeah. Or among probably a KX2. I would
or an Altoids tin if you're K6ARK.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Oddly enough, Joe Searles, you might be right. He says emergency backpacking under $500, get a used 818 or 817, which is, you know what? That might be the right answer. Hilariously enough, that's not a bad solution to that problem. Get yourself go to a ham fest, like a local ham club ham fest, and get yourself a used 817 ND. It's almost identical to the 818. It's again, they've been around forever. It's this guy basically, the one on the top, and it'll do VHF, UHF, and HF. Does all the things, right?
And I predict there's going to be a whole bunch of used ones on the market soon when all these people buying up the last 818s realize what a pain in the ass it is.
No, I like it. So K Booty's joined us. So K Booty, it's an honor to have you with us.
Thank you. I am the 818 hater here.
Yeah,
if you're looking for the user interface and to location, you can go up on top of a mountain to make that thing work. My highest peak is, nothing, and so it wasn't a good fit for me. I bought it to do satellites, and honestly, it was easier to do it with an HT with the FM satellites, and then impossible to do the linear satellites because you got to have 5 arms. So when I was doing that, I used the computer, did everything inside, but I don't know. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I'm the guy that hated it.
You didn't like the menus. I get it.
No, I hated the menus. And as far as like a button radio, the button radio I would pick would be the Flex. What was it, 6400? And then I just draw buttons on the front of it with a Sharpie. That would be my choice for that.
Man, get a 6600. Don't get the 64. Sorry.
That's
too late.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like about the Flex and what's the other one that came out?
Do we lose Day Outdoors? We lost him, I think. Okay.
Was he on YouTube? He was on YouTube, right?
Yeah, he's on YouTube. So I think we might have lost him. Let me take a crack at this. So assuming you get your license, which, okay, if you're not, I also have answers for that, but I'm kind of a ham guy. So if it was me and I was going outdoors and I wanted line of sight, I would probably have an FT-5DR, a Yaesu FT-5DR. And I'd probably have a roll-up J-pole or a half-wave smiley antenna to go in the kit that I could deploy when I needed it for extra range. That would be the emergency radio, because it also does wideband receive, so you can still do wideband receive and all that stuff. But I actually like the 817 recommendation, the used 818, because you can do pretty much everything with that. And it's an emergency, so I'm not going to be the one to say, it's an emergency, it doesn't matter, you can transmit where you want. You know what the laws are. I'm not going to get into all that. But this pretty much does everything, and it will function in an emergency role pretty well. And you can, so I would shout out to Tech Prepper. Go check out Tech Prepper and the stuff he's done with that radio. And yeah, there's a ton of spaces you can go. I know Mike bought the 818 when it was announced it was going to be no longer produced, and I think a lot of people did too. But I would like to just say what I said on the podcast, that please don't panic buy the 818 at a price hike. If the price goes up on this, wait, because there are possibly 1 million of these things out there. They are the Baofeng of HF radio. There are so many of them out there because they've been out there for 20 years. They've been cheap. They consistently were cheap. Many people bought them. If you want one bad enough, you can find one at a good price if you just wait. So don't let the FOMO catch you on the 818. Good radio. I'm not taking anything away from it. I just think that if people are trying to hike the demand on it, don't buy in. Don't lose your money on that.
I think even the used market at the ham stores is probably going to go up on it for a while until that.
For a while, but it's going to come down.
I have a serious suggestion for VHF, UHF, like lightweight portable, but I can't remember the name of it, even though I own one because it's down in the basement. It's that little DMR radio, that little 20-watt Radioddity DMR radio. Do anybody remember what
that little tiny guy, the mobile?
Yeah, little tiny guy.
I reviewed it. I wasn't the hugest fan of that.
I love that thing. See, I'm just the Antichrist.
Day outdoors. You know what? I'll add a second radio to the list if you're doing VHF UHF. The Yaesu VX6. Fantastic emergency radio. It does tri-band. It is basically all made of metal, so you could kill a guy with it if you needed to. Good radio. About $250 at HRO. It's been around the block, but it's consistent. It's a good radio. So there you go. There's some thoughts.
I think I like the little Radioddity because it does digital so well.
I hate digital. See, that's what cracks me up. Is you like DMR? Getting so frustrated by different things?
Not DMR. I hate DMR. It's a DMR radio that I don't use it for that. It's really good at doing like WinLink and Vara and stuff like that in the size of an HT, but it works so much better than an HT. I think that's why I like it. It's a really good Vara FM that you can stick in your pocket. I think that's why I think it's cool. I don't even fool with the DMR, and in fact, I usually don't even take the handy mic around with me when I use it.
All right.
Yeah, that is something. Andy brings something up that I thought about during the live stream. What do you do if what you want to use is like a mobile radio? You don't want, and you mentioned the 135 DR, which is a great radio, but what else is there? I mean, is there something that you can plug into easily to do WinLink and TNC type applications?
Like a mobile
radio.
Ooh.
Something with more than 2 or 3 watts. I hate HTs, honestly. I absolutely hate them.
Me too.
I'm not so I love HTs, but I understand where you're coming from, Don. I recommend many people don't get an HT and just go straight to mobile because it's 50 watts. You can do a lot better with it. So if you really are just talking and you don't need to do digital modes, the IC2730 is very, very good, the ICOM 2730. And actually, it's really good for satellites. Mm-hmm. So K-Booty, by the way, if you wanted a really good FM satellite radio, the ICOM 2730 is fantastic. It does full duplex.
I'm out of doing satellites now. It was too hard.
Yeah,
I'm too lazy for that. Now
the digital part is the issue, right? That's the part that adds this whole mess. If you don't want to go down the road of building your own cable set, the Alinkos are still a very good answer because you could just put a DB9 to whatever you want to connect to. You build the cable and you're good. You're off and running.
Agreed.
What does that RM Alinko do then? Why do I need that?
RM Alinko? What is that?
Yeah. It's the thing that connects the Raspberry Pi serial port into the Alinko for All-Star.
Oh, that's the repeater builders website, right? That's that little
card. Yeah.
That's for All-Star. Yeah. It's kind of like a TNC. It kind of functions as a TNC. It's a digital audio interface, I'm assuming.
I used to have one, and now Josh does.
Now I do, and I got to get on that video too. Hey, let's take a moment for Liberty Cave. He asks, what other radio will do all mode 2 meter besides the ICOM IC7100? So catch me here if I miss one. So the Yaesu 818. The 705, the 991A, the 9700. No, 9700 won't do all mode. I think that's it.
What?
For you're talking about for in production.
Oh, radio. For 2 meters, 9700 will also do 2 meter all mode.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
Yeah, that's in production.
Out of production, there's a long, lengthy list of them.
Oh, I guess scratch the 818. But
that's what I was thinking. Is a bunch of old ones that are a shack in the box, but they don't really do that as much anymore.
No,
which is a shame.
I don't know. Everybody, did Carlos come out with that video yet? There's some people that are doing reception videos on the 991, which is a Shack in the Box, in comparison to HF only radios and their reception. And the Shack in the Box radios are getting their butts creamed. Well, that was a weird way of stating that. With against the HF standard radios, the all-in-ones they don't do as well in comparison to Shack in the Boxes.
I think my DX10 definitely does better than my 897.
Well, and a Flex will do all of that if you add a very, very, very expensive transverter to it.
What? I only paid $90 for my transverters.
Well, how many watts you putting out?
That's not the other ones don't. That's what you're doing is adding a amplifier on the end of it. Mine put out about 10 watts, and it works fine on for local. If I'm wanting to do to bump it up, then I just add an amplifier. Right? It's not that the amplifiers aren't even the price of a Q5. Good God, those things are expensive.
Are they still making Mirage amps for VHF and UHF?
Well, RM Italy does.
Well, Mirage is owned by MFJ, so I haven't honestly looked at but I know we used to sell a ton of those because people could go their first radio a lot of times was an HT, and then you could take the HT and with 2 watts or whatever drive an amplifier and put out 25, 35, 50 watts, whatever.
And by the way, Andy, that's the difference in the 6400 and 6600. The 6600 is a full duplex radio.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not doing satellite anymore, so I'm not missing anything there. But if I were, that would matter.
Oh, the 300 is duplex too, just like the 400.
Well, the other thing is that with that same functionality, you can do diversity receive.
So, when I was still doing satellites, though, I used an SDR for receive anyway. So it didn't really matter.
But with the Flex, you already have the SDR.
That is true. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going back in time a couple of years.
You didn't have any problems with descents on the SDR?
On the Flex, no.
No, when I was using an SDR play for that, and what I did was I used a diplexer, flipped around the other way, and it was a good bandpass filter. It actually worked great.
Oh, that makes sense. I tried doing that with a Baofeng, and understandably, those are crap, so it didn't seem to help much.
Yeah, descents on those single board radios can be a nightmare. That's
descents on the 7300 is bad. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I just bought I think it was the SDR Plus. It was one of the little USB dongles. Thinking about trying that, getting it together with a Raspberry Pi to see if I could actually hear myself while transmitting.
You can, assuming that you got your RFI sorted out or whatever. Descents, local stations, whatnot. That will work, but yeah, you inevitably ran into a problem. It sounds like. All right. Well, let's we went through our YouTuber. Looks like some of the other folks are busy tonight. Is there anybody who's let's see, now that we're through this, I still see some new names, it looks like. Anybody who's here for the first time that would like to say hi or ask a question that we haven't been able to take a break in the action for you to get in there? I'd love to hear from you.
Well, this is my second time here, but I got a question if it's okay.
Yeah, go for it, Bill.
Yeah, I've got a TH-9800D that for some reason has gone deaf on all my repeaters.
What do you mean by deaf?
You're transmitting from that radio to the repeater, is what you're saying.
Correct. I can transmit, but I can't hear anything. Now, I can go back and forth simplex all day long with one of my handhelds and whatnot, but I can't get the local repeater to. In fact, the local repeater just identified itself on a handheld I got sitting next to me, but nothing on the 9800 sitting behind me.
Yeah,
do you have D-squelch turned on?
Yeah, you have receive squelch turned on. So
there's encode and then there's decode.
Well, yeah, the CIS the tones, you can actually have a decode tone on, and then if it doesn't hear the tone from the repeater, it'll stop receiving.
But he's doing simplex on it. He's doing simplex on it. So okay, let's back up a step. So if you're doing simplex, meaning no tones, just 1-to-1, same frequency, very simple. The question is, when you go to the repeaters, the only tone transmitting you need generally is to open up the squelch on the repeater you're transmitting into. If you have a receive squelch turned on, for some reason I don't know why, then you won't be able to hear anything.
Yeah, what model radio was that again?
TH-9800. The
TYT? I'm going through my menus right now to find which one is the squelch. Yeah, I have one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one in the truck, so I'm not going to go turn on the truck, but I'm guessing that you might have turned on some kind of tone squelch.
That's my first inclination.
It was working at some point, and then it quit working on me, so I'm not sure.
So you may
have hit the button.
I know that.
If let me ask you this: if you're doing it in VFO, or are you talking about in the memories?
Either way.
So yeah, because usually in memories, desquelch is a programmed thing. If you save it in memory with desquelch, then it's on there. If you go to VFO, totally turn off all the tones, the tone indicators. I think Mike's looking it up, right, for how to change it. But
I'm trying to find which frickin' menu it is.
I have a feeling you did something.
Just buy a new radio.
That's just
if you can't figure it out, shoot it. That's what I do with all my radios.
You could always do a factory reset on it.
I have considered shooting it, factory reset it a couple of times and reprogrammed it, and I'm doing something. I just can't figure it out.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like you've done something.
And by the way, Andy does actually really shoot his radios.
He really does shoot his radios.
Oh, don't do that.
I'm not above shooting a radio if I have to. I've done it before.
My man.
I
could never do that.
This is an odd one. Okay, this is one of those situations. Unless Mike can pull something out, you might want to save off all of your memories, right? So make a backup, and then just factory reset it and reload it, and see if that solves the problem.
Well, if he saves it though, and it's got those desquelch in there, then it would just reload it right back in.
But that implies that he went back into all of his memories and loaded a squelch and then saved it. I don't think that's what happened here.
Yeah, the other thing is after you factory reset it, just tune with a VFO to the repeater output and see if you can key it with your or get it to key up with your.
That makes
with an HT that's on Simplex.
He says it happens both. Oh, you know what? You're right. So that's what. Okay. So here, do you have an HT?
Oh yeah, I can hit that thing with Simplex.
No. But you have an HT, right? Hold on. Let me explain.
Yeah.
Okay. Set your HT to transmit on the frequency that you receive the repeater on, and transmit into your mobile and see if you can hear your HT on it. Don't do any tone, do nothing, and make sure you can hear your HT on it. If you can, then it's not a programming thing. What it could be is you've got some kind of problem going on with your feed line or your antenna, and your Simplex friends are probably closer or have a better connection than you than to the repeater, and you may just be losing the repeater at distance. Try the HT.
Yeah.
Try the HT, transmit into your mobile, and see if you can hear yourself. If you can't, then there's definitely something wrong with the programming of the mobile radio.
I mean, worst case scenario, you could just save the file, if you feel like it's a programming error, and post it up on the Discord, and we can take a look at it and see if we see anything obvious.
Yeah, no, absolutely do that. But he could do this HT thing like right now. He could go outside and do it and come back and tell us the result.
Yeah, just set your HT on regular VFO on Simplex mode.
Simplex.
Program it for the output frequency of the repeater.
The receive frequency.
Right. Whatever you normally would receive it on, that's what you want to transmit on. Put your HT in low power mode too, so you don't desense the receiver.
Well, but the receiver's still going to come on. right? It's still going to hear. It's still going to go and receive, right? It will break squelch, I guess.
Yeah, it should, depending on how close you are to it.
Sure, low power too. Go do that.
Also, make sure that your HT doesn't. Make sure the HT doesn't automatically set the offset. Make sure it's set to simplex.
Under menu 31, where it's tone. Shoot, I just got out of it.
Oh.
Make sure it's just on encode. You don't want encode.decode.
Oh.
Because that means it's listening for a tone from the repeater, so the radio won't open up if the repeater's not sending a tone. So make sure that I would bet that's what it is.
Is that a radio setting, like a across all memories radio setting?
That's the way.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at my memories, but I mean, I'm sure if you're on simplex, yes. But on repeaters, like you need to program your own. But go to menu 31 and make sure it's just on encode, or if it's a digital, make sure it's on DCS. You don't want encode and decode.
Go ahead, Bill.
Wait.
Wait. Stop. Bill's trying to get in here. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, I just tried it with the handheld, transmitting on the receive frequency from it, and it that works.
Okay.
So I know that
So then you got to check your feed line and your antenna. You're not getting the repeater. So we've ruled out the radio. The radio can hear on the frequency, and you don't have some weird tone or anything like that set up. So that means that there's something going on the receive end of your antenna, right? That whole feed, everything in the line. So the feed line, the antenna, the whole thing.
You got like a mag mount antenna or something like that you could hook up to the mobile.
You could do
inside,
that
just to test it.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I mean that'll definitely tell you if it's the feed line or the antenna.
This is going to be one of those. The repeaters are dead. That's why nobody's talking on the repeaters. That's why you can't hear anything. That's going to be the answer. But does the repeater have a courtesy tone? In other words, when you transmit and you get that beat back or that break in the squelch where it's like white noise, that at least tells you that you're hearing the repeater. If nobody's just coming back to you, that means there's just nobody out there. That's the answer to that one.
But like I said, I had a handheld sitting here, and I'm hearing the repeater.
Oh,
yeah, if he's hearing it on the HT and not on the mobile,
then you've got a problem with your antenna.
Yeah,
you've got a problem.
I reckon it ain't got no gas.
that's really the problem.
Mustard.
It ain't got no gas in it.
Could be, just something happened. Like I said, the feed line could be it, but that's why I said grab a mag mount and hook it up to it and just see if you're receiving the repeater, key it up with your HT, you can hit it.
What antenna do you have? What antenna do you have connected to the mobile right now? Out of curiosity. Oh, Bill's gone. He's in the truck now. He's driving to the repeater right now. Is what he's doing.
My bet is coax.
No, I had my hands on my coax.
The solution is to buy an 818 at a greatly inflated price.
No,
I bought mine. I bought mine refurbished for less money.
Ooh. Okay, Bill. What antenna and feed line do you have connected to that mobile? We got dead air here, Bill. We lost him. We lost Bill. He was
okay. I just put it's a Nagoya that I bought several months ago that I had hooked up to actually a handheld.
Don't put 50 watts into the Nagoya, please.
He may have burned it up.
So that's
no. That's hooked up now. I just hooked it up. I just swapped them.
Right. Okay. So let's go back a step. Yeah. Hold on. Let's go back a step. What did you have connected to that TH-9800? What was the antenna and feed line?
I'll have to look it up. It's hang on a second.
Okay. Let me play the hold music. Hold on.
Bum, 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 bum.
Holding.
Mana. Dun, 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 dun.
Mana. Yeah. By the way, this would be a good opportunity to say, if you have a 50-watt transceiver, do not use a handheld antenna on it. not designed for that kind of power output. I don't think that's necessarily what Bill has going on right now. I'm just letting everybody else know.
Signal stick will do it though.
It will. That will. By the way, next week we're going to be talking with the creator of the Signal Stick live on the show.
Hey, man.
You know that's what KM4ACK has on his car, right?
Oh, I saw that.
He's got Signal stuff on a little mag mount. Yeah, when we were in Huntsville, he had it on the truck. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" He's like, "Yeah, they handle 100 watts." I'm like,
"That's the Signal stock Signal."
No,
stock.
No. It is
Really?
a Signal stick antenna.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
What is it? A quarter wave?
Yes. The Signal stick is a quarter wave.
So that's, I mean, if it's got the right.
But it's just a piece of wire. Of course, it would handle
That's all a quarter wave is. That's all
no, I mean, I'm talking just the physical size of it. Like, you don't want to put 50 watts into your regular Baofeng antenna or something like that. But because the Signal stick is literally just a quarter wave of, I mean, it's got to be probably 16 gauge wire or something, I'd guess.
I feel like what's the scene in the beginning of Spaceballs where they're outside the side of the ship as I'm sliding the Signal stick into frame, slowly sliding it into
says
frame.
We break for no one.
Yeah. What's the ship called? I don't remember what the ship's called. I'm still sliding
Spaceball
the Signal
1.
stick. Spaceball 1, right? Yeah. So there it is. That's the whole Signal stick. But so if you do want a Signal stick, check out the link in the description. Highly recommended antennas.
I mean, my N9TAX will actually handle 50 watts too, but when you hang it inside, it's not a good idea to do 50 watts. Right next
when
to
you
your head.
you know what? If you use it as a headband, that's a really bad idea.
Yeah.
The antenna I've been using with this thing is a TC-8900 quad band antenna.
Okay, hold on. TC-8900 antenna. It's good if I spelled that.
We're all Googling. Oh, diamond.
If you've got the original diamond, they're okay, but there's a lot of lookalikey ones, and there's a capacitor in the bottom that fails.
So what's the mount? What's the mount? How do you have it mounted?
It's on a mag mount.
On what?
Well, it was on my truck, but I have it on a magnetic surface right now. It's plenty big.
Is this the one you're trying to bring in to test it with, or is this the one you actually had it hooked up to before?
This is what I had it hooked up to before. I'm playing the repeater with one of my handhelds and see if it breaks the squelch.
Do you have a power/SWR meter that you can add in between the antenna and the transmitter?
No, I don't.
Okay. You might want to get one of those because this would solve that pretty quickly. That would tell us really fast if you're completely out of whack on that antenna. But I'm guessing that antenna is shot, is what I'm guessing.
Could be the coax. Could be the coax.
It could be the coax. It could be. And so this is where that an antenna analyzer would help you really quick understand if there's a break or degradation in the line for the feed line, and a power SWR meter would tell you if you've got some kind of problem with the antenna.
There is a well-known fault with the lookalikey ones. There's a capacitor in the bottom fails, and they go as deaf as a post.
Yeah, that would make sense too.
Now, I just tried it, and I twanged the repeater with my handheld. Got the feedback from the repeater, but nothing on the.
Oh, then there's something wrong with. You got to check all the things at this point. Which mag mount are you using?
Once again, I'll have to look it up. It's the one with the 3.
It's an MFJ? Is it an MFJ?
I'm not sure. Like I said,
okay. So hear me out on this. That top collar on the MFJ, you may have to open it up and reconnect the shield of the coax to the part of the bare metal that's been stripped so that it makes good connection to the base. And that base is your ground that gets coupling with whatever the magnetic surface is that you're connected to. That needs to be
that
there.
wouldn't.
Yes,
that wouldn't
that
screw it
happened
up for receive though.
Yeah,
it could.
Do you have any other antennas that are at your disposal?
I would check all the things at this point. I think we've pointed to the fact that
yeah, I don't think it's the radio. I don't think it's the radio or your setting. It's got.
I don't think it's the radio. I think it is the antenna, and possibly the feed line.
But
possibly
only on VHF.
It works on UHF.
Yeah, I've got a repeater, quite a ways away from me. That's
well,
that could be the loading coil right in the middle.
Yeah,
that makes it 2 meters.
Yeah, the coil could have failed. We don't know, right? So this lower part of the antenna. Well, how am I make my fingers work? This lower part of the antenna is the 70 centimeter portion, right? That coil there is what gets you into 2 meters as you get higher. So you could have a fail there. In fact, that's leading more prominently to an antenna problem. It's not your radio, so that's the good news because that's more expensive.
Yeah, if you transmit like I said on the output of the repeater, you theoretically don't even need an antenna if you're close enough to it. It'll pick up the receive.
Hey, that's another good thing. Go check all the set screws on those coils. Thanks, James. That's a good comment there. James mentions that you could have a loose set screw. I would go check all the connections. Check everything. Do it 2 times. Check all the connections twice, including the screws on that antenna.
That I can do. Now, when I had an issue with this thing, and I brought it in and thought I had seated all those well, and I Loctited all those set screws. So if one of those backed out, I'm not sure I want to be anywhere near it.
Well, if you Loctited them, that might be a whole nother problem because that could be interfering with the electrical connection of the screw.
Yeah. It
Did
could
you
be
do that?
Acting as an insulator.
Did after you Loctited it stopped working?
Yeah.
There you go.
Don't Loctite aerial screws.
That's an insulator. You added an insulator on the screw. Wait, oh god, this is killing me. I should have asked this in the beginning. What did you do before this stopped working? You said it just stopped working. So I took that to mean like you did nothing and all of a sudden it stopped working. What did you do before it stopped working?
The only thing I can think of is I Loctited those screws.
That's it. That's it, bud. I mean, that's the variable. If it all worked beforehand and then you did something and it stopped working, scientific experimentation tells us that that's most likely the problem.
Well, which version of Loctite did you use? Did you use electrical Loctite or did you just use regular Loctite?
Yeah, I'd have to look at the bottle. It's just a bottle I had I'd picked up for another product.
There you go. Because if it's red or blue Loctite, it doesn't work. It's non-electrical, and it interferes with the conductivity of what's going on. And hey, brother, this is it's the sapper, the Army engineer.
Hey, what's up, man? Is this Lion? What is it?
Yep, that's right. Black Lion engineer.
Man. Black Lion, what's up, man? Hey, good comments in there. Appreciate you being in joining us out on the Discord too. Thanks.
Well, no, I mean, I've watched and I know what's going on in the game of the supply chain versus from food to everything because I'm like, I've got rancher friends, I've got everything, and I know that like the chips. What they're claiming is a chip lack of supply isn't really happening. Same with the food. There's no reason for eggs to be $5 a dozen in the store.
Okay, so what is it? What's the reason?
I'll let you guys figure that out.
Well, I mean that's not helpful. That's not helpful. So there's obviously an increase in demand. There's obviously an increase in demand in chips, and some of the plants burned down that made some of the chips for ham radio. So we are experiencing a chip shortage from that. That is across the board true statement.
What happened to all those food processing? Oh, I don't want to get.
The magical. Yeah. Eggs should not be $5 a dozen. There's plenty of eggs out there.
Doctors, I can't afford the tin foil on my head.
The chickens keep on laying them, so.
Shit,
not like
they were $8 when I was in the store yesterday.
I lost a
$8 for a dozen eggs.
There was a question I was going to answer that is unrelated to what we were just going through. And so if you ask a question and I had it on the screen and I didn't answer it, come back with that question one more time because I totally lost it in all of this. And now
but we did figure out that problem is you got to go back. These are the little things you have to think about, people. What did you do before the failure happened?
Yes.
And it's really important that are you looking at every ingredient in the equation, because even the Loctite that you use, if it's not proper Loctite, it will interfere with no, I won't even talk about that. There, trust me, we have more eggs than we can ever do with. But the Loctite will the different types of Loctite, the different types of epoxy that you use on a project, everything will. And this is my engineering background, and he can attest that you have to know the materials you're working with. Yes or no?
WD-40 does not work as anything but WD-40. It's water displacement. It's an oil.
So
that's the kind of thing that.
I guess the point is that they make electrolytic Loctites.
Exactly. You got to
that
use
should be what you're using. So, Bill, I think
I'm glad we could help.
I think we found the root cause. I think we could have got that a little faster if we knew that you had changed something. But go ahead, you were going to say something.
Somebody's got to ask the question because it slipped my mind.
Yeah.
But right now that radio is hooked up to the Nagoya that I was using with my handheld, and it still won't respond to the repeater. Still can't hear the repeater.
You might have done some damage in your finals by transmitting and it not being able to handle what you're giving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you need an SWR. An SWR meter will tell you.
And the same problem with the finals.
And that would show itself as being not able to do anything on 2 meters and still have 70 centimeters.
Correct.
The radio could be damaged. It could be.
So, even though it still works in simplex.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, now you're getting crazy.
It'll work in simplex, but you're only going to hear a certain amount of distance. I've had 2 radios finals burn out on me because of that.
I think
might have only gotten 1 out of X number of finals.
I think you might need to go get yourself a cheap VHF UHF power meter, an SWR meter, and test the power output and the SWR that you're seeing. I think that
I'm just going to throw this out there.
Yeah.
My TYT 9800, same radio that was in my shack, and I barely use it because I don't talk on 2 meters or 70 centimeters very often, just died. Like, it works, it turns on, it puts power out. I'm seeing about 45, 50 watts on VHF, UHF. I cannot key up a repeater. It doesn't work. I switch the microphones. Like, there's something in the audio or something. It does not work anymore, and it's just sat there.
Here, do you have the date that this started?
Do I?
Yeah, the date that your problem started. I need to.
A few months ago.
Okay, well, see, a few months. I'm going to explain to you something. Solar activity. There's a lot of things that's going on that will explain things, and I can look at things for you that most people can never look at, and that's why I'm asking why the date happened, because certain projects are going on, and
this is getting Gil. No.
Yeah, this is deep, dude. No.
Yeah,
just
but if I had a date of
no
when your thing happened, then I could tell you what went on atmospherically.
No,
this is not an atmospheric thing. This is.
I believe that
it's a Chinese radio. That's what it is. That's the reason.
Okay.
We're not going down that road right now.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, because we're not going down roads that things that happen in the atmosphere can fry your radio, right? Yeah,
No,
it can.
My radio's not fried.
The sun can fry your radio.
We absolutely can talk about that, but if you want to make a statement, go ahead and make a statement with evidence to back it up, and we'll look at it.
Well, that's why I wanted a date.
Well, don't be cagey with it. If you have a thought, go ahead and just put it out there with the evidence, and we'll look at it.
Oh, well, my evidence is that when governments test things like HARPs, etc., then and if you know the date that they're testing these things, and you can look and watch, because there is a website where you can look and see these things, and then you can say, oh, well, that might have fried my equipment.
So do you think that there would be a lot of people that would be reporting that their radios have all been killed if we
no, because HARP is a very targeted specific area, so it wouldn't be it'd be location wise during the day.
How do they target? How do they do the targeting?
How does HARP do the target?
Yeah, and how targeted is it? Like what's the general radius of the targeting?
Well, it was my house.
So it was
Mike
and Bill.
My radio.
It was Mike
let me
and
be
Bill.
very clear. Let me be very clear.
Mm-hmm.
My radio is not fried. Did I say that in clear enough English?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It turns on, it receives, it puts power out. I can hear, if I key up with an HT, I can hear. Okay, it works. What does not work is it doesn't put out any audio. So I can't key up a repeater. I switched because I have two of these radios, one in the shack, one in the car. So if they targeted my house, they would have to be really good and just get my antenna that is 30 feet up and about 10 feet over from where my car is, and they didn't get my car's radio.
How many neighbors do you have that are hammers?
2.
And how's their equipment?
I have no idea. It's great.
Exactly.
Now,
yeah.
So
you could be. It maybe ET came down here and he touched my radio with his glowing red finger.
Look, I'm gonna explain to you something that I know. Right?
Please do.
Yeah.
And
Go on.
So you play on the Earth, and I played in the space. Okay, and you
played on the space.
What do you mean by you
in space?
You played in space. You're an astronaut.
No, I'm not an astronaut, but that's a whole nother story.
So wait,
okay.
no.
Explain the reality is
no. Explain what you mean by playing in space before you go any further. We got to clarify that. What do you mean?
He's tripping.
Yeah, I'm tripping because
no. Just answer. What were you doing to play in space? Let's just get right to that because you're trying to qualify yourself as an expert. So what does that mean? What is your expertise in this area?
My expertise is that I'm not only an Army engineer, I'm a space engineer.
So what did you do in space engineering specifically?
Josh wouldn't know anything about that field either.
No, go ahead. Tell me. Go ahead.
I'm sure he wouldn't.
No, I probably
I'm sure he holds an all access area to Kennedy Space Center like I do.
Specifically, just tell me what you did in this area. I would just like to hear what is your expertise, your background.
My expertise and background is explosives.
What does that have to do with space? Like, no, get to the space aspect.
And well, there's a war going on.
No. What is
there isn't a war going on?
What is
Can you answer the question?
In space, what is it that you specifically do in launch systems or space, any space vehicles? What is your background in space?
Okay, my specific background in space is actually going out, deploying into other areas that are not of this planet, and helping fight the freaking war that we're facing. That you guys don't even realize that. Obviously, you think that.
So you physically went to another place in space? Like it moved through space to a planet or an asteroid? Okay. All right.
Who hasn't done that?
What type of warp drives were you using?
We don't use warp drives.
Is this this is not the art? This is not Coast to Coast AM, sir. Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Okay. Well, You know, you want to talk about radio and what the capabilities are. Here, how about this?
Even if you were a passenger in a vehicle that went to another planet, that doesn't mean you were an engineer that actually did anything to get you there. So what do you actually know from your expertise in putting things into space and then maintaining their orbit when they're in space? Because you claim that you're a space engineer. So what's your actual background in that space? Not that you went anywhere. You could just be a bus rider for as far as I'm concerned. You could have sat in a chair. What did you actually do to put things into space and keep them there?
No, it's not what I did to put things into space and keep them there. It's what I did to put people into space, keep them there, and bring them fucking back alive.
What'd you do? What did you do? Tell me.
He's getting mad now.
What?
What did you do to put people into space?
No, not your question. Your commenter.
I said you're getting mad now.
I'm getting mad now.
Can you just tell me what it is that you actually did as far as like engineering to?
What would you say you do here, Bob?
How did you put people into space and keep them there? What did you do?
I didn't.
He smokes barrels of crack.
Went into space.
I'm sorry. Hang on. What was your name, sir? I'm sorry.
Gil.
Gil. Okay.
Gil. At least on the Discord, that's the name he's going with.
Yeah. All right.
So what did you do? Like, what was this code you developed? Was this mechanical? Was this propulsion?
Oh, the code I developed. Oh, you want to know computer code I developed?
I want you to. I just. You
ever heard of Inslaw?
All right.
Have you ever heard of Inslaw and Promise Technology?
Bye-bye.
Have you ever heard of Promise? PROMIS. Maybe
you're banned. And I'll ban you on YouTube if you show up again. I just wanted a simple answer to the question. He said he engineers things for space. So
dude, that was amazing.
Just tell me.
That was funny as hell.
In his defense, I'm a lizard person, and we're looking for that guy. So
I just want to know what he did. I think I gave him plenty of opportunity to just tell me, like, what did he actually do, and then we could talk about that. And I would have been happy to, but he did not, and so now he's gone.
He wasn't ever going to tell you.
No, I realize that, and that's you can tell that with crazy.
Gosh,
folks.
you don't have high enough clearance.
I don't want to assume he's crazy. He could have just been a troll. I don't know, and I'm not going to make it a statement.
That was a real 80 meters moment here on the
Sometimes later on at night, these after chats can get a little long-winded.
80 meters.
And you just yeeted the most entertaining conversation
I know.
you could have had tonight.
No, because I've got Jason. I've got people with actual ham radio questions that want them answered, and I want to answer people that need help in ham radio. And again, this is a ham radio channel, and
he could have told them he could have answered those questions and how to do it in space. Just saying.
That was better than kissing a girl.
I just want people to here's the thing: you can disagree with me completely, and we could even have like a very aggressive discussion, an argument, if you will. I'm still going to walk away with it like we're cool if you just like have a dialogue with me where you answer the questions. Like, he was a bad interlocutor is what we would call it, because he's not answering the questions. He's going in circles. He's just adding platitudes on top of platitudes. And it's like, hey, let's just square the one. Like, if you make a declarative statement, I am a space engineer, whatever the hell it is, then you have to back that up with something. I don't care what it is, but you got to say what your accolades are. Otherwise, I have no frame of reference. I read a lot of sci-fi books. That's probably not going to do it. But it is a claim that you can make. Give me something.
I think he's been to Argonia, Kansas too many.
Well, it was reading very much like Coast to Coast AM. Fun. That was fun. That was very fun. Thank you.
I mean, apparently out there was an extraterrestrial ham radio equipment killer.
Yeah, hold on. Before comment, and we'll come back. I want to answer Jason's question. Jason Foster asked Josh. He's been trying to answer this question. Is it normal for me on my HT to be able to hear a repeater that is 17 miles away, but at the same time not seem to transmit on it? The answer is yes. Your radio will generally receive better than it can transmit in most situations. That's the answer. That's the whole answer I wanted to try and give. I think people in the chat already gave it, but I wanted to get back and make sure I got to him. So, Jason, thank you for your question. Happy to answer it. Now, Paul, would love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead.
All right. The only comment I have is that where you made a mistake with him is that you should have informed him that the Earth is actually flat. And There is no space.
I'm not.
I was waiting for that.
Because
I was kind of waiting for
the
that too.
last time I did acid,
The moon landing is real, but the moon is fake.
The Earth is flat and Sasquatch is real.
What do the flat earthers call the dome that we're under? It's also something that Muslims believe. I believe it's the something. I don't. Somebody in the chat will know.
Not the Jews.
No, flat earthers. There's a name for it. It's it's gonna kill me.
We live under a dome.
The firmament. Chris got it. The firmament. The firmament. Yes, the firmament. You got it. Yep.
But Josh, I have to tell you, that is the best 20 minutes of any Discord I've ever been in.
I've been working.
You actually had me laughing out loud.
Right.
Dude.
My wife is like, "What are you laughing at?" And I'm like, "This guy is out of his fucking mind."
I'm
There
about
is
ready to
no
pull
way.
the Smoking Gape cord. We need Smoking Gape to have this conversation if it goes any further with that guy.
I'm ready to bail out because I lose my security clearance.
I kept waiting for him to start quoting the Turner Diaries. That was
that would have been interesting. Yeah,
He did say he had all access to Kennedy Space Center.
Which means nothing.
There is
That means nothing to me. That means that he could be
No.
a janitor for all I know. Like, that means nothing. Like, I need clear experience or education, knowledge in an area so that we can have a
If you
dialogue.
have that access, you don't talk about it.
Yeah, well, that's another thing.
Very important person.
I've been employed at HRO for the last 6 years, and Josh, I got to tell you, that topped it off right there. That was fan-freaking-tastic.
HRO has some
gold.
wild things that happen in the email system. The help line on HRO. Oh my god! Don't even.
So the comment
Dude,
made.
I've been employed there for 6 years, and I've seen some crazy shit, but that was amazing.
The comment he made
Just
to
a
Mike
comment,
about how it's only his radio, and like, what do your neighbors do? It's like, yes,
we all going to be sitting here next week talking about everybody's radios blowed up.
Yeah, Harp did it. There's
Only
a
to Mike,
question.
though.
There's a question from John, and unfortunately, it's a sad answer. I have a quick question. Is there a way to get the APRS data off of the FT5D to something like a tablet or a phone so I can plot it on the map? The answer is no, not like in-body radio. You'd have to use the DigiLink or the Mobilinkd to wired connection into the speaker/mic port to be able to pull that data off.
But that said, it may be on APRS.fi. So
well, but he wants it off. He wants it on a tablet, like when he's somewhere off grid, right?
So if he has cellular service or can connect it to his cell phone,
okay,
he can
that's
get to APRS.fi.
But then,
so.
no, keep it all in the family. Keep it ham radio for this question.
Let's see.
So you could do the same. I could go grab the FT5D. I have a Yaesu plug. You can plug it into the side of it. It's the same one that the VX3 uses, and I could connect it to the Mobilinkd, and it would do it. I could also use the DigiLink if I wanted to. But yeah, you have to output the audio and basically let the computer handle it, because the TNC, quote unquote TNC, that's in the FT5/FT3, FT2, FT1 is not a true TNC that you can like USB right into it. That's a completely separate thing.
What about the 300?
The 300 does not have a TNC either in the traditional sense, like the Kenwood does.
Is there an easy way to put a keyboard to it? So, like when you're doing messages on APRS?
There isn't.
There's nothing easy
okay.
about the Yaesu FT5.
Okay, so I don't know that you can't put a Bluetooth keyboard on an FT5. I have not tried that, but I would be shocked if that worked. I haven't tried it, though.
I know that with the FTM-400, it'll save the APRS data to an SD card. I think the 5 will do that as well, and you can plot that.
But that's not instantaneous. That's like, hold on, I got to take the SD card out and plug it into my computer. That's.
There's someone snoring on here.
Yeah, he didn't say if he was doing wanted it live, or if he just wanted to like pull his tracks off.
Man, the chat on Discord absolutely exploded after that call, or that talk. That was something.
The only good bug's a dead bug.
Yeah, I really like that one. That's a hot GIF to pull. Where's the?
If it's anything, I had 2 of them Chinese radios die one after the other with audio faults.
Are you sure it wasn't Hart?
Well, I'm not sure. I didn't see any Irish dudes running about with metal harps. No,
it was Guinness all along.
That's the one.
Yeah, I knew where you're going, Mike. That was something, man. That was. I don't mind. Oh God, I don't know how to.
The best bit was, how are your neighbors' radios? Yes, because
Mike,
it only hit one radio.
Go knock on. Well, that was kind of where I was going with that line of questioning. Is how do they physically make it that directionally pointed for destruction, right?
Magic.
Like you can't. The answer where we're going is you can't be that accurate. So
the government has laser beam antennas that they can shoot directly at my house.
Yeah,
Josh, you don't have any idea what they're capable of.
I was somebody linked me. God, what was it? It was this crazy lady talking about. I may have to find the YouTube video. Somebody linked it to me. It was this crazy woman talking about how they're going to ban ham radio because we, as hams, know when the frequencies get modified by the government, and that, and I was so like upside down in my brain, even following the line of logic that got her to that. Like the government can just shift the electromagnetic spectrum. Like, was that the idea? The scary thing is that like as I've gotten older, I've only realized that there are like people out there, and I don't think that they're dumb people necessarily. I just think that they're like very ignorant of specific things. Like we have a niche hobby. We understand things that a lot of people don't because we care about that. But then when people speak and they start to dip into that area, they're ignorant of it, and they draw these preconceived notions based off of like that makes sense to me. It's not I went and I looked something up or I read something and I took time to research it. I'm just going to talk about it, right? Like that, those people exist. They're out there. That they are in our world, our country, our all of our countries. And that just is wild to me. It is crazy.
On the security.
That was something, man. Wow. He's probably
straight out of
right
Mars
now, just loving it. He's probably watching right now, just loving the trolling he did if he was a troll, which expertly done troll. If you were literally on script as a character,
that was like Mars Attacks combined with the X-Files, combined with Independence Day, combined with God, I don't know what else.
Stargate.
I guess when he said that he was space traveling, I probably should have just
he was implying he travels through the Stargate.
Yeah,
and he brought up Inn's Law, which that immediately put him in that weird category.
I did hear a really interesting lecture at the RSGB. How they said how they they've been checking the atmosphere for about 100+ years, and the effect of bombs falling did mess up the atmospherics.
Oh yeah, that's
that's
the whole.
That was a really, really interesting lecture on.
How's that guy
Mike,
back
how that
on
works.
YouTube?
There he is. Okay, good. I got him. Thanks. I'm gonna make him a mod. Okay.
Oh come on, let him in. Is that him, Black Lion Engineer?
Yeah, he's gone. Okay.
Our ignorance is classic.
So, Mike, if you want a really interesting deep dive, look up pre-atomic steel.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
So cool. That it's not a long deep dive. You can get the gist of it really quickly. But like the reason why we're taking old battleships and recovering metal out of them is because they were that metal was manufactured before the atomic blast, and that has a lower atomic frequency or whatever. I don't know. Frequency is the wrong word, but they use that for medical grade equipment, which is just fascinating for scanners and whatnot, for like MRIs.
I'm just waiting for him to say if he's gonna if he manufactures vibranium or something like that.
Yeah, get the ones out of your toolkit.
Vibranium, the strongest metal on Earth from Wakanda.
No, that's adamantium is the strongest metal on Earth.
I think vibranium is stronger than adamantium in comic book sense.
No, it does weird stuff with sound in the comics. I'm talking about the comics. The movies.
Close the door all the way.
Meddled that.
Yes, I was.
Don't watch it. The 40K will escape.
There's a blend of vibranium and adamantium, and that's supposed to be the strongest.
Captain America's shield, and it's the only thing like that exists.
Yes, mithril. That's the right answer. That's the right answer.
Yeah,
the strongest
mithril.
dragon scale. That's right.
Yeah, Wolverine's skeleton is made out of adamantium. If it was vibranium, he would have a healing factor and be very musical, I think was how that would work.
And remember, dragon scales are what we should have actually built the shuttle out of.
Right, because it's heat resistant. Right.
Yeah, it's the most heat resistant.
Man.
If they're Targaryen dragons.
A-Frame, boy, if you caught us just now and you're looking for TNC info, you got to go back and watch the live stream. We're very off the rails at this point, and I'll thank our good buddy Gil for that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Hey, Mike, really quick before I forget again, because I've remembered now twice. Have you ever watched What We Do in the Dark?
In the shadows, you mean?
In the shadows, that's it. Yeah. Have you watched that?
I've seen the movie. I have not gotten into the TV show.
Have you watched the TV show, though, or no?
I've probably watched an episode, but I don't remember. I was thinking about you earlier today, though, too.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, your favorite actor?
One of, definitely one of, yeah.
He's doing some kind of like Dracula movie, apparently.
Well,
Thought I'd let you know that.
Good.
Sure, you already knew that.
Oh, Renfield, I think it is.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but it
Renfield
looks bad.
Yeah,
he's the familiar / servant of Dracula. He's a human.
Correct. Yeah.
Or he's a
I
ghoul.
just saw the title.
But
Right.
Nicolas Cage is playing Dracula in that movie. I think the movie's about that Renfield character, though, and like he's
fantastic.
He's like, how do I not be his servant anymore? So there you go. A new horrible movie to look out for.
This means we're going to get another fantastic accent from him.
Oh
yes,
he is caging it up big time.
So Jarrett McAllister asks, is there any downfalls for using a BNC connector on HTs? If we're talking, okay, so if you note the connector that is on that radio, which is just a tiny spindly little SMA connection, do not do that. I did that for the live stream. You don't want that on your day-to-day radio. What you want is
the little tail.
You want no. You want a flush mount BNC. See how that BNC has a wider? It's got a wide base at the flange connection to the SMA. That's what you want.
What about the little 3 or 4 inch long tails that go either to BNC or SMA or
tiger
reverse
tail?
SMA?
A tiger tail?
Yeah. No, well, technically a tiger tail is like a
counterpoise.
Counterpoise. No, the little, they're like a little. I don't know what the proper word is anymore. Almost like a pigtail. Yeah, it's basically, it has whatever connector is on the HT, and then the other end of it's like SO239 or whatever.
But it's a link. It's a little length of cable.
Yeah, it's a little length of coax.
He's talking about wearing it like an HT. So no, I would not. So that's what you want. That's a diamond connector, and those are really hard to find right now. I literally went to HR today to buy like 5 of those things. They're very hard to get, but anything like that has a very flat base that screws in tight to the SMA connection is what you want for BNC. Now, there was a comment on insertion loss. No. There is it is almost not measurable, the insertion loss you add by adding that connector. So no.
I have those on all my HTs because they don't wear out the way that the SMAs will if you take antennas on and off and on and off, like put it in a bag. And it's a lot more convenient. And I still think those provide more strain relief than using a little pigtail, honestly, because it
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Because it's once they're on there, they're pretty sturdy. And then if you wear that thing out, you just replace it for another one.
No, I'm thinking about we're a situation where, somebody's got all they have is an HT, and then they go ahead and they get themselves an antenna for outside, and they're using coax and running inside, which is they're probably going to be using PL259 type coax.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to hook that coax with the big connector directly up to something that's mounted directly onto the HT. You want something.
Here it is, the Nick Cage Dracula.
Well, yeah, for stuff like that, I would use LMR, not 400. What's the little skinny one?
318 or 174?
I can't remember. I'd have to go look. But it's the little skinny one, and put a BNC on one end and SO239 on the other.
That's what those pigtail things that Jeff's talking about are.
Right.
RG316?
Yeah.
You mean RG213?
No, it's none of the above. I'd have to go. I think it's LMR 240 is what I was. Is that sound?
Yeah,
that's the size of 8X.
More flexible. That's the 8X size.
Yeah.
240, LMR 240.
But but then once you got the BNC connector that's flush on there, having the bigger cable doesn't really matter. It's not gonna tear it up. That's my opinion, which is worth $2 maybe.
I still would worry about getting cracks in the in the solder connection where but whatever.
Also, let it be said that I'm hard on equipment.
And I would also at that point, at some point, you need to just get a mobile and make that your base radio. If you're
I actually have an old Kenwood TH-215 where I took the BNC off so often, but instead of having little pins that stick out that are round, they're D-shaped where they've been worn.
Oh, so you could almost slip the whole thing around?
Yeah, because basically that was my entire shack for 10 years. But it still works perfectly fine. So the amount of times that antenna came on and off of that, and the rubber ducky went on to go on to get into in the vehicle, and then could unconnect it from the rubber ducky to the one in the vehicle. Yeah, it must have come off at 10,000 times.
The other neat thing about the BNC female connector, I think it's female, is that you could turn around and take an end connector and stick it right on it, and it would fit in.
All right, really quick. Is anybody noticing that Nick Cage is giving strong Christopher Lee vibes on as his adaptation of Dracula, which oddly enough, Christopher Lee also played Dracula.
Oh yeah, long in the 60s, right?
Yep, he was a fantastic Dracula. Christopher Lee in general, very impressive actor. Also a skilled fencer.
Mm-hmm.
Also skilled many things.
Many things. Amazing guy. Amazing person. Yeah.
When you say fencer, you mean somebody builds fences.
That's right. That's exactly what I meant. Yes.
But by the way, when does Scott show up?
I don't know, man. Oh, there he is, Scott. He's here now.
Snuck it in.
Oh, Scott. Oh, buddy. Of all the days to miss the after chat, you missed one of the best.
What did I miss?
Oh
yeah, you did.
You did. You have been so consistent on so many of these live streams and joining us on the after chat. You missed one of the craziest commenters we've ever had.
I mean, we could fix that. Just unban Gil and let him come back.
I will support that decision.
Wait, you had a troll on here?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Oh no, that was not a troll.
I don't think he was a troll.
No, that was a genuine.
That was a troll.
He was a true believer. I think he was a true believer. Scott, like we were talking with. So when it got to the precipice at the point that I pushed the ban button, he was telling us about how he knows about radios because he is a part of the space war, that he has gone to other places in space to fight the ongoing alien war.
Well, he didn't say alien, did he?
Hey, look,
he
if
didn't
bring
go
back a
that
t-shirt-
far
Oh,
yet.
that's true. That's true. I don't want to put words into Gil's mouth.
Yeah, no, but he was going there. He was headed down that path.
I don't know that it was aliens. I don't know. It could have been the Russians or the Chinese. I don't know.
All because I said that my radio doesn't transmit anymore.
It's literally Nazis on the dark side of the moon. This is Dark Skies, the movie Dark Skies.
Scott, it is worth going and rewinding and rewatching this on YouTube because it will, unless Josh cuts it.
I
it
might
will be
have
on
to
YouTube.
re-upload it as
that.
Do you know how
Don't
far
cut
back
that.
it was?
Probably a half hour, 45
Okay.
minutes, maybe.
I might just try that out. But no, if he didn't bring a T-shirt, it didn't happen, man.
So I am going. I will. I'm not going to recut that and re-upload it. I was thinking about it, but I will add timestamps for that because that is that I gotta timestamp that. I gotta timestamp.
Well, hey,
that.
Josh, think of it this way, Josh. You're kind of becoming like Art Bell. Remember the crazy callers
That's-
of call?
That's what I said. I was like, this is turning into Coast to Coast AM.
Yeah, the comments were full of that, just absolutely loaded.
Take snippets of it and turn them into YouTube shorts.
I was
going
laughing.
to say the same thing. Turn it into YouTube Shorts because that is just a classic that cannot be passed up.
No, I came in about 15 minutes ago. We decided to have movie night for one night. I'm always on here, religiously on here every Saturday night. And tonight we had to watch The Menu because it came out on HBO Plus or HBO Max. Excellent movie, very cerebral horror. And then we watched Glass Onion, which was phenomenal.
That was great. Is The Menu a horror movie?
The Menu, it's not a horror like monsters and stuff. It's horror and like it messes with your head psychologically because of what's going on in the movie. But trust me, if you watch it and sit through it, at the end you're like, "What the hell just happened?"
Is it Who's on the Menu?
No.
How to cook humans?
Well, like Serve Man.
It's all legit.
How to Serve Man.
How to Serve Man. That's
How
right,
to Serve Man.
Yeah, it's not the Twilight Zone recap.
I dumbed it down.
But you brought it up. You brought it up. Josh, did you watch The Glass Onion?
I started it. I started watching it, and I have not had the time with Leia and I to watch it. We've just been too busy because I know that if I watch it without her, she will be upset. So I will watch it with her. I literally got it queued up after this. I think maybe we might be able to make that happen after the live stream. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Did you try the Witcher or the Witcher intro? With Michelle Yeoh.
I did not. That was the other one. I failed in all my homework. I got stuck. What did I watch? I watched Memento again last night for some reason. And the movie I hadn't seen was Hereditary. That is a fantastic horror movie. That is one of the best horror movies I've seen. Yes.
I keep seeing it on the recommendations, but I never watched it.
It is nothing like Mandy. So, Mike, I'll just say that right up front.
I'm realizing as I'm saying.
I know, and like you can't trust me. You can't trust me. Yeah. No, so I will say that as a parent in particular, that movie will probably hit you harder than people without kids because of what happens through that whole thing.
Okay.
But it's a lot. Did you ever watch The Witch? The WIT, the two V's in there somewhere. It's nothing like that, but it feels like that. It's tonally and paced like that to me, I guess. I don't know. Very good movie though. Hereditary is very good. Yeah, Justin, you nailed it. When he started going to that, my face, I was not If you're on the Discord, you're seeing the images that people are posting. I'm surprised there's not more live stream memes from that. There should be a lot of memes that come out of that.
Well, there may be a lot of TikTok videos that come out of it.
Give it time. There will be.
That was something, man. That was a lot. I might have to palate cleanse with some FT-8.
I kind of felt it was going that way too early on, and I'm like,
oh yeah, K Booty is literally DMing me as this is all going on. I'm like, my bad finger is ready for this, and I literally have to ban him after that.
Yeah, I made a prediction that he was going to blame a certain ethnic group for all of the problems with the eggs. I was like, here we go.
I was laughing.
I was not. That was I got really. When people get too braggadocious about themselves, I generally get really cautious when they don't back it up with something, because like, I think your words speak for yourself. Like, if you talk about things and you help people out, or you establish it by doing or whatever, like, that's how knowledge or capability should be understood. When you just state declaratively, like, oh, I know this stuff, it's like, this is gonna go a certain
when
direction.
he rolled in being self-important, my bullshit meter went off like 5 seconds in,
and when he said that he had been to other planets, I'm like,
oh, that was it.
No.
He went stratospheric with that. Like, he took it from my warning lights are going on to DEFCON 5.
Yeah.
I just wish I could have known the date that my radio went bad, because then we would have known.
Oh, Mike, if you had thrown a date out,
or if it was, I was gonna just throw out a random date and see what happened.
Oh, it was probably Xenu. You're probably right.
He got banned. I was gonna, before I could really fuck with him, I was gonna say, we've been looking for this guy.
My guess is right now, if y'all look, Scott has gone complete mute. I'm betting he's backing it up so he can hear it.
He might be.
I would.
Oh God! And I was laughing so hard, I literally had to take my headset off. I couldn't listen to it anymore. I was out of breath. It was just
I don't have a problem going down that road on these live streams, obviously, particularly in the late end. Like, he's already towards 9 o'clock my time.
Right.
So, like, I don't have a big problem with that, but I want people to be like a good partner in a discussion. Like, if you've got a crazy idea, that's okay. Let's walk through it. And, we don't have to agree, but man.
Yeah. And when he kept bouncing back and forth, because somebody, Tim Keller brought this up, but he kept bouncing back and forth between eggs and supply chain. And I'm like, why are you talking about electronic components? And then suddenly it's eggs. I was like, I kept waiting.
It's not the eggs, it's the price of eggs.
Well, but a couple of times I couldn't even tell that he was talking about
on
price.
eggs, because he has access to every single square inch of Cape Canaveral. That's how he knows about the eggs.
Right.
Yeah, that's how he knows about
aliens have been stealing our eggs. That's what's going on.
Remember, they're having no problem getting them to us from those other planets, right? The eggs are plentiful there, and they're just shipping them in. So there shouldn't be $8 a piece.
They might have a hard time getting through the atmosphere. But who knows? He did sound like he was missing a few teeth, though, as well.
Jesus,
I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, I want to know, did he wear the crash helmet during the crash test dummies?
Coming soon to Hamcation.
Oh God.
I will definitely be ready.
Yeah, I'm. That was a whole lot. All right. I'm gonna get on.
He was the parachute.
Nice, nice, Jeff.
While that sorts itself out, I'm gonna take a quick break, go to the restroom, grab a drink, and I will be right back. And so, somebody fill some space. If you want to answer some questions in the chat, that's okay. I will be right back. Enjoy the memes.
Are there any questions on the stream? Anybody?
I got a question for anyone technical for something about the FTM-400.
Sure.
Go ahead.
What about the 400?
All right, so I just bought the HRI 200 because I'm going to just basically go on Wires X so I can run it remote with my FT5DR as well, so I'm not like stuck wired to it. I can be wireless. But I also wanted to know, because I know that thing does some digigate or something like that. Can I run them both at the same time so that I can do APRS stuff and basically have it go right to the internet? Because there's nothing around me in terms of that. Like if I want to squawk out a packet, I mean, I got to drive 10, 20 minutes before I can hit anything that'll pick it up.
Well, I don't know definitively. I don't know if anybody else know offhand. A buddy of mine's got that unit. But
wait, I may. Okay, so you're talking about the FTM-400, right?
Yeah, but he's using the HRI 200, the interface with it.
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't know. I was going to say because I run APRS.
I think once you use the HRI 200, it goes into like that, and that's the only thing it'll do.
And that goes in the accessory port on the back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't think you can.
And what happened to your audio, Andy?
Am I too close to the mic?
Either that or you're sick.
No, is it? Well, how about this? Is this better?
No.
Sorry, I accidentally touched something.
Oh, okay.
Somebody's asking if you can TNC out of it. They're talking about. Are you talking about the radio itself? The radio itself technically doesn't have a TNC in it.
So the 400, I have one in my truck, and I have actually messed with this. You can use the accessory port to receive data, but you cannot send anything through it. So you can use it as an iGate if that's what you're planning to do, but that's it, just receiving from the radio to the internet.
You can transmit through the accessory port as long as you don't use the internal TNC and you use like Direwolf or something on the computer.
Right. You'd have to be. When you're using that port, you're just using the receive audio line and the transmit audio lines. You have to actually have something that's producing a digital signal to be able to do anything, because the radio itself isn't going to be generating any. It doesn't have a true TNC in it. Correct. All it has is the APRS stuff in it.
Right. It can only listen. Correct.
Right. So yeah, you'd have to be using like something with a sound card, like one of those interfaces Josh was talking about earlier today. The DigiRig sounds actually like it might do something like that.
That does work. That's what I've been using in the car. Well, no, I use an RA board in the car, and that works from Masters of Communication. But it basically does the same thing as a DigiRig.
Assume like my Signal Link would probably do that too.
Correct.
You
need the right cables.
Yeah.
But doing that with Wires X going at the same time.
Don't think so.
Yaesu
doesn't seem to be very fond of it. And they'll tell you it does not have a TNC in it. All it has is the APRS receiver in it and the transmitter. It's very limited to that. I think it says in the manual, which I don't have handy, but I think it actually says in there's not a TNC in this radio. It only does, APRS. So it's not like you could use that part of it to do like regular packet, for example. It won't do that. All it does is the transmissions.
Yeah, the one thing I'm not sure of, and I don't know if this is part of the question, is whether you can do like the HRI 200 type application on the 400 and do APRS out at the same time, because I know that like band B is limited to this and band A is limited to that. So I don't know how that works exactly.
I don't think they can transmit simultaneously. It knows out.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
It actually, when your B-side transmits on APRS, and if you're receiving 2 meters, it'll blank out while it's doing it.
By the way, there was a firmware upgrade to the FTM-400 that would allow it to act as a Wires X node, but it would not you could not host a room on it. So you had to have an HRI 200 to host a room or your own personal room. But if all you were wanting to do was get to the internet for Wires X, it would do that with just the firmware upgrade.
Looks like other people in the chat are saying no, you cannot. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page on that one. Could be wrong, but I don't. I think we're all in agreement on that.
I never tried that on mine either.
Now they've discontinued the FTM-400 as well, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I consider that to be an excellent radio. So I'm an 818 hater, but I like the FTM-400 as long as you're aware of its limitations. I think it's like ideally suited for the car. It pairs well with the 891. Like you have those two in the car, you can do all kinds of shit, and that's the rig I run.
Have you played with the DX10 yet?
No.
Okay, I was just curious. Because having my first my first brand new HF transceiver was an 897, which just like the 857 and the 817 and the 818 had that. Oh my God! Look at the menus. You have to figure out everything, where it's at. You have to hunt for stuff. Yeah, the DX10 is more is I think a lot easier. I still have to kind of think about things with the 400 and the DX10 sometimes, but at least everything's in front of you. You're just not looking for the right button.
Yeah, did you see that live stream they did? I think it was Monday on Ham Nuggets, where they were doing that thing on the 705, and I was like, God, oh my God, look at all the menus on that thing. That was menu hell.
The 705?
Oh yeah, watch that stream. Watch it and look at all the menu options you had to go through to set all that crap up.
I can forgive a lot of the menu stuff with the 891, but the fact that you got to dive down into menus to change the output power, I find highly annoying.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the real things was all of the different menus you had to go in just to set up the D-Star stuff.
I got a question for most of y'all.
Go ahead.
If you could bring back any discontinued HF radio, which one would you bring back?
Mark III.
706 MK2G.
The 7851. Oh, I'm sorry.
857.
I don't know that I would.
Yeah, I don't like why.
I mean, if you said like if you took that same radio, that idea, and made it like new with today's components and technology,
the house is on fire again.
What about the roof?
Oh, I set off the fire alarms apparently.
Oh, okay.
Transmitting.
Because
the only reason I bring that up.
I'm not.
The only reason I bring that up would be the 706 Mark II-G and just kind of revamp it a little bit.
Well, but I mean, those came out in the late 90s, so
that's the 705.
You're talking 25-year-old technology there, and
so we got the same radio in the package of the 705. It's smaller and it's a touchscreen and it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all that stuff. I mean, that is that radio.
It doesn't have 100 watts.
Well, okay, so that exists. It's the 7300.
7300, yeah.
So then you say, okay, well the 7300 is too big. Well, that's the world now. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. You've got base station and you got QRP. There isn't.
They need
Yaesu,
a mobile. They need a
mobile. 7100 is that mobile. But the
Yeah,
base
true.
station world is kind of that pinnacle of like you can lug it onto the field. You know, you can take the FTDX10. It's not that big. The 7300 will go with you too.
Doesn't have a handle.
You can put you can buy a handle. That's not that big a deal. I know.
Does Yaesu have an official handle for it?
Yeah.
3D print handles.
You could make one. Who cares? That's nothing.
Talk about my 897D came with a handle on it. It's
so you need a handle
radio.
for it to be a portable radio?
Well, that's my opinion. You know,
the 705 doesn't have a handle. The 818 doesn't have a handle. The 819 doesn't have a handle.
8 pounds, 6 pounds, something like that.
I take the 7300 portable all the freaking time. Now, to be fair,
you're all gonna handle on
I
yourself.
have the portable zero rails on there. Thank you, Josh.
Not all of us need a handle to take it portable.
I'm still
Big bulky handle.
I'm team QRP needs a satchel like strap like the 818 has in the box. I want everybody to have a crossbody 818. I'm still trying to get Mike.
I don't
on
think
board
I
with
will
this.
ever use that.
I want Mike to put the strap on. Hashtag
you want me to strap it on?
Team strap it on. Team strap it on. And I want you to.
You go full electric handbag.
Put a strap on a G90.
No, so that's the
Strap on
craziest thing.
EX10.
Okay, so I do want to give a shout out to all the crap that comes in the box for the 818. You get a vertical antenna with 2 tips, the 2 meter 70 centimeter tip, and then the 6 meter tip, and then it also includes this random ass strap because when it came out, Parks on the Air, Summits on the Air, that didn't exist, right? people were man-packing this thing. They'd go around the neck with it, and they'd put it on their chest and operate on their chest. Like, that was the design of the radio. And you'd be walking along, and you'd be dragging a radio behind you. Like, that was the vision for the radio. And there were people doing it. And the strap is still in the box, which is awesome. I think that's great.
I think all radios should weigh as much as their equivalent Kenwoods.
Oh, my God.
Kenwood made little tiny radios like that,
if
but
you've
they were
ever
just
picked
2
up a
meters
Kenwood.
only.
Well, I mean, look at the FT, what is it, 560 or 590 SG? Yeah, it's 590. Pick one of those up, and they're supposedly the equivalent of a 7300, right? Oh my God, they're heavy. All the Kenwoods I've ever picked up are heavy.
Oh, yeah, Kenwoods are big boy radios.
Yeah, the reason I brought that up actually is because Johnny Whiskey 5 Kilo Victor took his 890 out on POTA.
Okay, that's a big boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to lay this down. I've got a 23 valve radio from the 60s. It's going to go POTA.
Okay.
But I've got to find the special adapter that makes it run off of 12 volts. And it was made once. One day, I've seen them on eBay, but I've never had the money. But one day it will turn up, and I will climb the mountain with a 23 valve 100-watt radio.
Hey, you know, my Yaesu FT-101, I used to have the DC power cord for it, and unlike the DX10, it has a handle on it, so it's a portable radio.
You guys know that
weighs like 80 pounds, but
who knows what a Morris 1000 is?
You guys
Right?
know
Little
that
car from the 60s. I've seen a full Yaesu 101E set up in one of those.
You guys know that Gigaparts makes a backpack for all that stuff?
Yeah, I think
I don't know if
the
they've got one
YouTubers
for the
in
101.
existence has one. I've got the box right next to me. I got to do my
that bag is so awesome.
Is it? Yeah.
I can't afford the Velcro, Josh.
It's like $60 for the shell, right? That's super cheap.
Yeah, it's very affordable.
At least he got to kiss a girl once there.
We used, well, I won't speak, but it was more than just on the lips.
Oh.
Ew.
Well, I mean, let's not get too
deep. Cooties.
I definitely have cooties now.
But then he started pining over a bag.
Oh no, she's fully aware of my ham radio nerdology. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Have you tried to? Is she a ham? First of all,
it's harp.
Not yet.
Okay, but that means you're going for it. Hey, I've been trying to get my wife to be a ham since we were just dating. So.
I mean, I've only hung out with this chick twice, and both times were with my friend Ryan and his wife. And apparently, the first time we were hanging out, and I don't even remember this, but I'll crash at my friend Ryan's house because we'll have a couple cocktails, and he's got a spare room, and he lives like an hour away from me. So we were all over at his house, and for some reason I left. I went home. I don't know why. And then Ryan's wife was telling me, she's like, "Why did you leave?" She's like, after you left, she was like, "Oh my God, I was ready to tear him up." I'm like, oh my God. So
that'll learn you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
I was like, really? I mean, I'm pretty daft, and maybe I wasn't picking up on her signals clearly. But I made sure to not let that happen again.
I didn't see the talons.
Yeah, can we make sure of that? Like,
she was standing buck naked in front of me, and I didn't understand what she wanted.
Yeah, well.
Instructions
got
not
any love story music.
Instructions not clear. I'm trapped in the dryer again.
I can't say I haven't been there. You know, my wife gave me tickets to a concert and invited me, and I didn't go.
I mean, it could have been a crap concert.
Well, it was a local band that was one of the husband of one of the girls she worked with was in the band. It was a local Orlando band.
I know MFJ instruction manuals are crap, but geez.
And she was like, "Yeah, and I was looking good that night and everything, and you didn't bother to show up." And I'm like,
"So, Mike, next time you'd have Ryan put an abri on her head, and then maybe you'd recognize the signals."
I would prefer a signal stick personally,
Oh,
but
signal
of course you would.
or like
put a signal stick on her
can
head.
she just hold an Ed Fong J pole out?
There you go.
Ooh.
Give her one of those hairstyles with the one gal that always goes to Dayton, has.
But
Big
was
tower.
she a space engineer?
Baby steps, boys. I just
You're working.
kissed
Oh
the
yeah,
girl
that's right.
tonight,
That's
okay?
right.
We gotta.
This is also the sign of a nerd.
We gotta.
We're
Christ,
going
listen
way
to-
too fast. Everybody's
Listen to
moving
Josh's
too fast.
podcast. How long have you been married to Leia? Like 20 years?
No, 10. Over
Something
10,
like
over
10.
10.
What? Who cares? A long time.
Who cares?
And he's still.
Good God.
Oh, Leia's here.
Still-
Leia's here.
Oh,
it's
geez.
Hey, Leia.
It's 14.
She's
14 years.
Just got her tech. What? 2 years ago?
About a year ago.
Working on the general.
Yeah.
No, it's been 2 years. Yeah. I've been
Okay, for
really
Oh
low
yeah.
rolling.
So
Yeah.
here I am just kissing a girl. I've got a little bit of progress. Now, not to say that our ham relationship is going to go the way that Josh and Leia's is, but it probably will.
Okay. There you go.
If I don't screw it up.
When are we going to
So
get you
what
to show
you're
up?
saying is you are going to start producing a 4-hour podcast weekly with the girl that you kissed?
Oh gosh, no. It's going to be 9 hours.
yes, in true K and MRD fashion.
9 hours and 21 minutes.
Start talking
9 hours and
about it
41
now.
minutes.
And will there be Jameson involved?
Hey, Mike, sorry.
Hopefully.
Can you do me a favor and not call me Queefy that time? That'd be great.
What?
I mean,
creepy.
QFI.
What?
Yeah, I know. It sounds
Did that
like
make the video?
Yeah, I think it did.
No, it's actually. Hang on. There were 2. Is this Shane?
Yeah, it's Shane.
There were 2 stations that were QFI.
Oh, no. The other one's KD2. I'm KI6. Yeah, the other one's KD2.
I mean, it's your call sign, dude. It is what it is, man.
You're
what else would you do with Q, F, and I?
Quietly farting intentionally.
No,
Okay, but how would
that's
you?
the acronym.
I mean, that's queefy.
Oh God.
Okay, so
Sorry, dude. It's not me.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
That's not a vanity call, is it?
No, it isn't.
No.
That's a pretty long vanity call.
No, there are people that do that though.
You can't put a price on a person's vanity.
So Josh, are we going to get? Is Leia going to come out and meet us all in Dayton or in Huntsville?
Maybe at one point, but I don't know that. Well, I mean, she's here; she can answer for herself.
Yeah, come on,
This is going to be like an eternal maybe, I think. It's
eternal maybe.
It's bad timing.
Yeah.
What if Leia gets her general and gets on HF and like?
Oh
is
yeah, she's
is
gonna like just.
Oh my God!
smoke everybody.
Just like gets bit hardcore.
I don't
just
know.
like,
I've
we need to get
operated
we need
under
to
his
go-
call sign. though.
Yeah, but that's not your call sign. Like that's different.
Have you seen my QRZ log? Come on.
Yeah.
You have one, I believe, is that?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's because you haven't ascended to general. So I just said what if? What if?
Yeah.
You know?
What if? What if?
But Mike,
A
why
girl
don't
can
you
dream, right?
why don't you invite her on 10 meter Wednesday or what is it, Tuesday?
Oh yeah, that's a good
She's
thing.
a tech. She can get on 10 meters.
Yeah.
Josh probably has a spare radio lying around.
Yeah.
Whatever. At least maybe one.
Interestingly enough, he just operates them all at the same time.
Right.
Is that right?
It's-
You figured out how to do that, you sly dog.
I'm just holding it from everybody.
Point that beam towards Houston, Texas. And 3 p.m. So what is that? 1 p.m. on Tuesday, your time, and we'll just get on 10 meters. Yeah.
Yeah. Fire up the 7610, put it on 10 meters, use your call sign and work Mike on FT-8.
Oddly enough, though,
Nothing
Leia,
else.
it's
What
the
day
button.
is
It's
the-
the button that says 28.
what day is it though of the week?
Tuesday. It's Technician Tuesday.
At 3 p.m. his time, Mike's time.
I feel you just talked about it on the podcast too.
Mike's time. What is that in Californian?
That's 1 p.m.
1 p.m.
Pacific time.
Mm-hmm.
On Tuesday.
I have to be at
Lunchtime.
work? No, I have to be at
Lunchtime.
work.
I mean, there's
Lunchtime.
200 people that usually check in, and I feel that probably 1 or 2 of them is probably at work. Well, we have cell phones. You can just have it on your cell phone and be working and playing radio. And actually, Josh, don't you have that ICOM software that allows you to log in remotely?
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
There we are. Problem solved.
Set her up.
She's going to... well, yeah, that's going to be fun.
She's like, I am putting that in my calendar never.
My sweet friends.
That is a maybe.
My sweet friends.
John says goodnight. We're going to bed.
I was going to say, that is not my child that was talking.
Good night.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
He's getting big.
John has told us good night. Andy is out. The K Booty has left the studio.
Hey guys, thanks for all the help on my problem. I'll see you all next week.
Did we help you? Did you get to anywhere with it, or?
Oh yeah.
No, still the status quo.
With the radio, or
well, okay. So let's go back. So you put the Nagoya on the mag mount, and you're still having the problem on receive. So you might want to swap the coax at this point, because that's the last thing, right?
Are you using the same coax? Yeah, that's a good question.
No, the Nagoya has its own.
And it's still not receiving?
No, it's still not receiving.
You could have... Are there repeaters that you work on 2 meters? Well, simplex is 2 meters, right?
Yeah, it's working simplex with 2 meters. It just won't... I've only got one repeater on 2 meters that I can hit, but it's my local repeater.
And you can't hit that.
And I can't make it go and talk back to me on that radio.
On that repeater, you can't hit the 2 meter repeater.
Correct. There's a UHF 70 centimeter repeater that's a lot further away that I can hit it consistently. And
so, dumb question: is it potentially the repeater?
It's working with my handhelds.
It's working with your handhelds.
So here's another question: have you tried doing the opposite of what we talked about earlier, tuning your HT to the input frequency of the repeater and transmitting on the radio while it's trying to transmit on the repeater?
For people asking, it was the
I did that.
TH-9800.
I did that a few days ago.
Hear anything on the
Yeah, that was working.
So you're transmitting.
Yeah, every indication is I'm transmitting, and it will receive. It just won't receive off of that repeater. Like I said, it's the only repeater I can test it against right now.
That's so weird.
Where are you located?
It's
what
just
area?
that repeater?
Well, that's the only repeater that he has access to, it sounds like.
It's the only one that I can hit from where I'm sitting.
Okay.
So I'm just Fort Walton Beach, Florida area.
And you can hit it with
There's
the radio.
only one. Wait, you're in
up
Fort
with the
Walton.
radio and hit it?
What's that?
Can you key up with the radio and open it up? Like, can you trunk the repeater with the radio?
Yes, I can.
Oh.
It just won't talk back to my radio. Just won't hit it.
So, like, if you have the HT on next to the mobile and you key up the mobile and transmit, the transmitting mobile keys up the radio as verified by the HT. You hear what I'm saying, right? You get what I'm throwing down?
Yeah, I'm hearing you there. The mobile will key the repeater. It just won't catch the tail.
So did you go to menu 31?
Yes, I did.
And make sure. Okay. All right.
There should be more than one repeater that you could hit from Fort Walton Beach. There should be at least a half a dozen or more. There's a lot of repeaters in the Panhandle.
So for everybody that's catching up on this, Bill's already answered the classic questions of, memory, programming, all that. He hasn't done anything to the radio. It used to work, and then it stopped working. Specifically, 2-meter, receive from a repeater. Simplex works okay. We haven't gotten into the ranges on Simplex yet. And UHF is working fine. So it's kind of a conundrum.
The squelch point that Brad just brought up is very good. Have you tried opening up the squelch so you just hear the static?
Oh, it is a manual squelch. Open the squelch all the way up and see if you can do it.
Yeah, I've done that.
Oh,
and it's the same result.
You hear static, right? You hear the regular static?
Yeah.
Okay, well that rules out desquelch, by the way. If he opens up the squelch and he hears normal FM static, then it's not doing desquelch or using a CTCSS decode or anything like that.
So if he can hear the static, can he also hear the repeater? Like if he keys up and then waits for this repeater tail or the repeater beep or whatever, can he hear that? Because that will rule out whether it's antenna and rule out whether it's coax, and it means it's just radio programming.
Wait, say that again? Break that down?
Okay, so if he opens the squelch and then he keys up the repeater and then listens for the beep or tries to make a QSO or listens to something coming in, one of the earlier theories was that it was a problem with the antenna or the feed line. If he can hear, right, if his radio's receiving the signal and is decoding it and he can hear it, because the squelch is now off, that's ruled out that it might be a digital squelch or anything like that. It means he's receiving fine, the radio's acting fine, and it's just a configuration thing. If the squelch is off and he can't hear anything when the radio comes in, then it really points towards either dead receive, dead or bad antenna, bad coax.
Yeah, but why is he receiving like a simplex from?
Well, so how far away is the simplex contacts you're making, Bill?
Here on my property.
Oh, okay.
So, I understand that could possibly, be into it, but.
Do you have like a video camera or something you can put in front of your radio and just start driving away from your house and transmit into that frequency and see how far you can get before it dies? Like you just look at the mile marker on the, reset your trip counter and be like 1/4 mile, 1/2 mile, 1 mile, ... and then where it dies. And that's going to tell you pretty quick if there's something, how good your simplex actually is. It's possible that you're just picking it up off the coax or off the body of the radio or something.
Yeah, I wonder if the preamp might be shot in the radio.
I'm starting to feel like that might be the direction we're going in. And this goes back to the whole thing with the Loctite on that coil. Transmit enough times into something that's isolated to just UHF on 2 meters, and probably HARP. Thanks, Justin. That could be possible.
Yeah, the reflected the reflected RF may have damaged the preamp in the receiver on the 2 meter side.
What kind of tone does the repeater use? Is it digital or just regular CTCSS?
You guys.
Just CTCSS.
That is a fair question. What day exactly did it
What
stop
day
working?
exactly?
What day did it happen?
I'm dead, man. You guys are killing me. This is ridiculous.
Sometime between Father's Day and today.
Oh my God, that's That's a lot of time, man. There's no way we can track HARP that long.
Well, you don't know, but I can tell you if you know the things I know.
Right. Tell me about what you know specifically. Give me evidence. I want to hear the evidence. Oh, jeez.
Well, that's classified, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, it's classified. Uh-oh. Contest Daddy's in the house.
Have you tried turning the tone off?
I'm surprised you didn't join immediately, Contest Daddy, in the chat for that one. I'm surprised you didn't jump on that one immediately. Oh man. So gosh, at this point, like it sounds actually likely that it is maybe the radio. Okay.
Have you tried turning the tone off? Just tuning to the repeater frequency and seeing if you can hear it that way.
Well, I was going to go with take the antenna connection that was on the mobile and connect it to the handheld. And if the handheld has no problem connecting to the repeater, obviously on transmit, but also receive, then you can rule out the antenna connection and the feed line. Now you're back to the radio again, and it sounds like you may have an actual hardware problem on the radio. It's starting to sound that way. It really is.
And sorry to
put it in,
but
just tune the radio to the frequency without, using your whole memory and all that. Just VFO.
He did that. No, we asked that question too.
Okay.
We did a lot of debugging before
I want to reiterate
the space war started.
Yeah. I want to reiterate, this is a TYT. I've owned 3 of these 9800s, and 2 of them have failed for just no reason whatsoever. K5YVY, I think, has had 4 fail on him. So it is typical. Generally, the TYT 8900
I'm drinking. Everybody drinking.
Will fail. So
at the same time, I've been running that radio in the Xterra for 6-7 years. It's dying though. I know it's dying.
You got a diamond in the rough, buddy.
Yeah, it's done pretty much.
It is not a reliable radio. So
no.
The skinny is your radio is probably broken, and now don't look at this as a bad thing. Look at this as a good thing. Find the positive in this. You get to acquire another radio, whether it's new or used. I would get the FTM-400 myself personally.
If you can, you could buy a 400 if they still got them.
Nah, I don't like the 400. I really like the 300. Matt A4MQ showed me his. He drove me back to my dad's house from Hamcation last year, and that. Oh wait, if you see this in your area, call Gil.
Your mom is texting
doesn't have access to.
Yeah, your mom is telling you that Gil is calling, and
yeah. So I'm gonna guess that, and this is what started the whole darn thing with Gil. Right. These radios just break with no, there's no rationale behind it. It just happens. So,
I wish I had known this a year ago.
Yeah, it sucks. Not that long to get the life out of that. That's sucky. That sucks.
I mean, yeah, I've had them for a couple years and they've failed. I mean, it is not uncommon for the TYT 8900 or 9800, whatever the hell it is, to just break. It is a cheap Chinese knockoff of a Yaesu radio. It's what it is.
And this one was a Father's Day gift from my son. So,
I mean, I'd blame your son then immediately.
I've got my license, May of last year. So
congratulations.
First mobile I've had. So
yeah, it happens, but it's like, don't think of it as a negative thing. Think of it, you got your license. That's awesome. You're better than most people in the world because you have a ham radio license. And you got just like when we first start driving, we don't get this great car typically. We start off with some kind of beater, and then we graduate from that.
67 Mustang.
Like did you really? No.
I'm
driving to California, and I'll slap you if you got a 67 Mustang.
I rebuilt it. That was my first car.
That's different. That is freaking awesome, though. So like when I first started playing guitar, I didn't get Gibson Les Paul Customs.
Right. Okay.
Guitar.
Yeah. Okay. I hear.
It was.
You got an Epiphone?
No, not even. I got a Series 10.
A Fender Strat.
A Series 10 guitar and a Crate GX 15R amplifier. So, just they're baby steps. We grow into this hobby, and just look at it as that.
Okay, I got a whole different subject here.
With that said, hold on really quick. Go maybe if you've got the budget, you can swing on this. Go get yourself if you just want a good upgrade, still analog, still a good solid dual channel radio. Go get an ICOM 2730. And then take that TYT 98 and then look into fixing it yourself. It's probably not going to be that much in parts to fix the finals on that thing. And then you could put it in a car.
It's not the finals, though. It's the front end.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
It's the receive part.
It's the preamp in that section.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Just
like my radio, I can key up. It puts out power.
Right.
It does the thing. But it doesn't transmit audio. It doesn't even transmit
I told you what the problem was, Mike. I told you what the problem was. It's your mic connector on the radio.
It could be. But guess who's not going to fix that?
I'm still saying
send it to me, and I'll take a look at it.
2730 gang. I'm still recommending the 2730 as a replacement.
And I'll do a YouTube video on it. Even
you've earned it.
I'll do a YouTube video on it.
I don't know if it's even.
I'll take a look at it, but just wanted to say thanks, guys, and I got to get out of here.
All right, take it easy, man.
I'm sorry, man. I wish we could have solved it for you.
We fixed a lot of problems. This one is beyond our help.
It's radio related. It's
Yeah.
got to be the radio.
Who told me to send them the radio? I didn't see who that was.
That's me, Jeff.
Who's me? Oh, N4POD. Okay.
Yeah.
Name's Jeff.
I'll bring it to you in Huntsville. And they either fixed or broken.
Well, so I mean, either way, I'm going to get something out of it because I'll just shoot it. I don't care.
There you go.
Yeah, but I don't want.
Good old Texas send off.
I'm curious. I want to see if I'm right. So,
I'll send it to you.
All right, that's cool.
Well, this is a good little parlay we can take here. If you had to shoot a radio, what caliber of what would you shoot it with?
50 BMG.
See, I think that I don't think that would be any kind of fun. I would go full buckshot. I would shoot it with buckshot.
I'm kind of after shooting the battery, and I used my AR-15. I'm kind of thinking shotgun.
Yeah, I think you got to go something
like
with
my Keltec KSG.
Back off a little bit and shoot it with a 12 gauge buckshot. Give it a good 9 hot pellets, or those are 9mm BBs coming out of a 12 gauge buckshot. But shoot it with that because you're gonna do some more damage. If you shoot it with a 50 BMG, you're gonna go right through it, and it might explode. It might do something, but you can't guarantee that.
So it won't be as satisfying if you're really into like full blown. I need this radio to not exist anymore.
So strap it to some tannerite.
If you go back into history, you might when the American forces made radios, it came with instructions on how to shoot it so the Japanese couldn't get it.
That's right. That's again, Mike.
And obviously you didn't do it because now the Japanese make all the bloody radios.
The orthodoxy of Mike is coming out again. I appreciate this. That's a true statement. That is historically accurate.
Can we really take war advice from a Brit, though?
Hey, I'm not saying nothing.
Now you just thermite the shit out of them
they
in the
lost,
army.
but
wow.
Just complete meltdown.
The Brits are the
I'm not commenting.
I don't want to be that guy, but the Brits were the stalwart of World War II. It was their holdout that
I was talking more like revolutionary.
Oh,
okay.
Well,
we didn't have 1912, all right?
We didn't have tannerite back then.
No, we didn't. All right.
1812, right?
Get back to shooting.
White
I'm going to go
House.
get another beer.
1812, White House. Say no more.
That's burning of the White House. That's
1812, New Orleans.
Night, guys, gals.
All right, good night.
That's as far as I'm going.
So I would go buckshot, and
I mean, if you want to take the modern army approach, use some thermite.
Well, there was a comment on incendiary round, but I think that's also, there's not a whole lot that's going to catch fire in there. It's going to be fun looking, but you're still just going to punch a hole right through it. Thermite's probably the way to go, I think, still. And on the backside, so you gotta break it, you gotta shoot through it, hit thermite. Thermite's going to be like a bit of a charged effect on the backside. That might be fun.
Depends if you get them in issue, though, isn't it?
Yeah, white phosphorus. That's probably a bridge too far. That's really when you want to send it to its grave in an ashy mess.
It might be a bit melty.
I know some guys down in the Big Red One. We could send it down to them.
Yeah, right. Well, our friend Gil was a sapper, so I mean, I'm sure he could
Oh God, no!
I'm sure he could send it to an early grave for sure. There's another fun deep dive. Look into the origin of the term sapper and what it came from. And it was from medieval castle raiding, and they would herd pigs. They'd underdig castles and herd pigs in it, and then they'd burn them alive, and the pig fat would start these massive fires that would bring down castle walls. Yeah, that was a thing people did. Mike, what are your thoughts on sapping?
Oh yeah, that's I've got the pigs already.
I got them. Good.
Hey, bacon farm.
Oh man. All right. Well, we'll take another round here. Otherwise, I'm gonna hop out, and I'm gonna try and go watch The Glass Onion with Leia. She dipped. I think she dipped. Any ham radio questions? We've been going for a little while. I want to make sure we try and answer everybody we can. So
I was going to bring this up about the R-Finder thing.
Oh yeah, I would love to hear about the R-Finder. Go for it.
Okay, so
then I'll confront Bob in Hamcation.
This is what I'm asking.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna. I probably won't be able to go to Hamcation, but I'll be in Huntsville and I'll be hopefully in Dayton. So R-Finder, when I first was introduced to it, was a program that took over for the repeater directory, right?
Yep.
And I'm a subscriber. Apparently my login's not working anymore on it. And it's telling me to change my password in the app and all kinds of weird stuff, except when I log into the app, now it doesn't have any of my information in there. What's going on with R-Finder
That's a tech support question. That's a tech support question for R-Finder.
No, I know,
Come
but
on.
Still, it's Bob is the one who's like, yeah, you should get the blah blah blah.
Well, yeah, of course, Bob's going to tell you that.
I got the little round tuits that he had that one year. Did you never see those R-Finder round tuits?
No, I didn't.
No, they were these little wooden tokens, and it says round to it when you get around to it. Haha. Any rate.
No.
So
that sounds like Bob, though. That's a Bobism.
Yeah, no, they were awesome. I had a whole bunch of them, and then, things happen. But I always thought there should be a distinction between the device, the Android device, and the actual software. And I always thought it was kind of confusing because people talk R-Finder, and it's like, well, are you talking about R-Finder the utility, or are you talking about R-Finder the device?
Okay, so K9DEM asks, how about an ICOM 718 that thinks it's transmitting but no power comes out? That sounds like finals. That's a power meter test too. So you put a power meter in between the antenna and the radio, and if there's no power coming out, that sounds like textbook finals.
If you turn the power output on, does it show anything?
Well, the radio is going to think it's transmitting because it thinks it's transmitting.
Yeah, but shouldn't it still have a PO meter on it?
Maybe.
Or you think it's just simulated for what it thinks it's doing?
Don't know. Don't know. That's where the power meter solves all this, because it's going to tell you if it is actually putting out the power and it thinks it's transmitting, it's actually doing it, or it thinks it's transmitting and no power is coming out. If no power is coming out, it's probably the finals. If it thinks it's transmitting, putting out full power or no power, then it could be the meter, but the meter on the 718 is also this little LCD display. So I don't know where to go with that issue, but that could be too.
Yeah, you'd need to monitor the current output as well to see if it's actually drawing any current.
Well, that's true, because if you're transmitting, you're going to use probably closer to the 20 amp, depending on how much power you use. And 100 watts is going to use right around 20 amps.
Mm-hmm. Well, I may snip our 818 discussion. Hey, Mike, are you there, Mike?
Hey,
did you get the Yaesu Christmas card?
I don't think I'm making friends with anyone at Yaesu.
I didn't either. There was only a couple of us that got them, and I'm like, really? I'm fairly pro
I mean, I wasn't heard about it because I'm quite vocal about my feelings, even though I own a crap ton of their radios.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Are you on the naughty list?
I thought I was very fair, but I did not get a Yaesu Christmas card. As some of
but you're Ham Nation and sponsored by ICOM. You got a 7610 in the shack.
I did the math.
Blah.
I did the math, and I think I have more Yaesus than I have. If you include HTs, then I have more Yaesus than I have ICOMs.
Yeah.
I think just in general, but
I have always said Yaesu's HTs are amazing. I love them. Still crappy menus, but they're great.
Well said. Well said. Yeah.
So no, I don't expect to be getting a Yaesu Christmas card anytime soon.
Yep. So
I just wanted to jump in.
I apologize.
I had questions about my.
Go ahead. Question. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're good.
Last week I had a question about an MCOM 3, and you guys answered it for me. It was great. I went out and set it up in a local park and did my first FT-8. I don't know how you guys use that mode. I got a lot of learning to do.
You get used to it.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, so first of all, congratulations on deploying your setup and making contacts. That's amazing. And as a personal, goal, you hit it. So congratulations. What else? Did you just do FT8 or did you do voice or anything else? What'd you do?
I tried some voice, but I'm a technician, so I don't have a whole lot of bandwidth on the 10 meter. So, but I didn't get anybody on the voice stuff.
That's enough. That's 28.3 to 28.5 is where most people are going to be on 10.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to find the majority of people there.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I just needed to scan around a bit more.
Yeah, because what's going to happen is when you go above 28, once you go above 28.5, you're going to hear a lot of static. So you might find somebody here or there or whatever that's jumped up there, but most people are going to be 28.3 to 28.5 just because of that reason. That everybody, whether you were licensed as a novice or a tech, even if you're general, the majority of the people are going to be in that segment.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Yeah. But I was looking into some of the other digital modes built into, was that FL Digi or whatever? Some of those are really cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that we were able to help. That's kind of the point of what we're doing out here. At least that's our primary goal. Yeah, fighting the space war is also our secondary goal.
You have no idea, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Idea for a program maybe that some of us don't know about these in FT8. Yeah, just heard about that. As you know, I came back about 2 years ago, and I don't know anything about the digital modes in between RTTY and FT8 because none of them existed when I Pactor was just about a thing when I packed in being a radio ham.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a program on some of the other modes, like Vara, not Vara, the PSK 31 and some of the other ones.
Olivia is a really cool one.
Yeah, that's.
I like Hell because Hell sounds like a fun name.
Well, Hellscriber is actually the unique one in the bunch. It's almost like a facsimile than it is a actual digital mode, which is kind of cool. It's I know I should. It's just one of those things that's like I feel like we're moving on, right? We're moving on. And I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. Like I would rather do more SSTV videos than get into these weird esoteric digital modes, because that's kind of what they are. Is they're esoteric at this point. You're almost doing it to say like I will not, concede to FT-8.
Not going to do the modern stuff.
You're not going to do Richie Roundup and
No, I've done RIDI videos. RIDI Roundup. I'm on board with that. I have no problem with RIDI. But if you're talking like, PSK31 largely got superseded by FT-8, right? PSK31 was the mode du jour before FT-8 kind of latched hold. Like that was the most prominently used digital mode. And it's still very cumbersome would be the word that you could use. You had to have all these like macros built in, and I've talked about that. I've done some live streams when I was talking about FL Digi. That's where a lot of this has come up. Where when you used to do PSK31, which is what I did a lot of before FT-8, surprisingly, because that was the digital mode again du jour. You would have these scripted canned QSOs where it was almost like World of Warcraft, where you were just like clicking through the spell list that you would do and not try and draw aggro, right? That was kind of like what you were doing with PSK31. And that's what you do. You just finger roll the macros and do the whole thing with the QSO. And that's it. That was the whole jam. You could, of course, keyboard to keyboard on PSK31. But that also somewhat got superseded by like JS8 call and modes like that, where it added more functionality to it, right? Because in addition to just keyboard to keyboard and macros, you got the ability to do the relaying capability and some of the other built-in features of JS8. If I were to do a video on that, it would probably have to be like the esoteric modes, the ones that were like truly unique, like Hellscriber is truly unique. That one still has, like, and Olivia to a degree, has uniqueness that takes it outside of like what PSK is. That was again largely superseded by FT-8. So that may be something. We might have to play around with that. But also, I think it's the new year. I've got to dig in. I got to dig myself a trench and get back into CW. So I think we're going to do. I've not truly done CW on a live stream and tried to make contacts, and I may do that. I may make a live stream where it's just working CW, not anything more complicated than that, which is like. It scares me because I like to obfuscate everything with complexity, as it turns out.
You really want to work a pile up in CW, don't you?
No, I know that's what scares me about it. Is I'm gonna die. Like but also at the same time, it's like, you know what? How better way to learn than just going in the deep end? That's what they tell you.
Jump in the fire.
And we obviously know. I have no problem failing live, failing on live stream.
You too, huh?
Yeah.
Well, hey, I worked you on your Christmas light thing on FT-8.
Yeah, no, but see, I
cards in the mail, by the way.
My whole world exists in this, like, I want to complicate things unnecessarily. The Christmas light antenna is the perfect example of that. Like, I spend a ton of time building an antenna that is bad. Like, that's it. Like, that's the whole purpose of it. And it's fun. It's a cool demonstrator, and people go like, hey, great, whatever. But it's like, it's a bad antenna. I literally take it down at the end of every year, and I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this dead strain. It's literally landfill fuel, which, bothers me. But, or like tonight, like, how complicated is all this stuff? I was jumping between three different types of connections to a PC, a tablet, and a phone. And like, yeah, I don't have a problem with technology, but when it comes to just like copying CW, I can't I can't get it. I can't get it to the point that I'm like happy with where I'm at. And
what happened to that? What happened to that Christmas light antenna that you couldn't get to light? What was the problem?
Well, so Marty's long probably gone to bed at this point, but Marty was in the live stream earlier, and Marty was at HRO earlier today. I hung out with
PRA, Marty?
So Mike, did you see the picture? I hung out with Shuey today.
What?
He was at HRO.
That's Canadian guy, right?
Canadian
That's
Shuey
Canadian guy.
for Twitter. Yeah, he was at HRO today in Anaheim. Yep.
Did he get lost or something?
He's super chill, man. He's super cool.
So why is he such a douchebag?
I think he is like the Canadian. He's the Canadian version of like taking the piss. Like he's kind of a troll guy on Twitter. Like he does push buttons. I think he knows that. But now also I kind of have a semi-unique relationship with him. Is that like he was watching me before I was the ham radio crash course. Like I think he was watching me before I was even doing ham radio content. Like he found me that early. Like
he just liked watching you eat pho.
Yeah, eat Filipino food, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Regardless, he's actually super chill. He's like he likes to do soda. He's super into APRS.
He's a keyboard commando.
No, and I think okay, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so he was there. But Marty was there. Where was I going with all this? Jesus Christ.
Are you talking about Marty, the one that got married at HRO? That Marty?
Yeah, Marty and Rose. No, so Marty asked me, "Hey, what happened to your original antenna?" And so if you watch the rebirth live stream, the antenna literally burnt out from the feed point away to the tip. Like you watch the lights burn out, but it was still an antenna the whole time. So what was going on? Well, there must have been some kind of problem at the feed point or one of my splices that I added into the antenna that it just had some kind of problem that the RF couldn't progress out of some of those burnt bulbs. But it worked the night before, right? It all worked, and then of course we go do the live stream, totally dead. Fixed it, got it up on the air. I moved some stuff around, and it that worked. Obviously, because you saw it on the live stream. But I don't know exactly. That's kind of the issue with the Christmas lights is they're horrible antennas because they're literally inductors.
That's a mystery. Interesting.
Wasn't my choice, I'll tell you that much. Oh, there you go, a Gen 4. See, now tell me, like if you put a radio on a table with a gun. The 818 looks real good. Like it fits, right?
There's a radio there?
No, but I mean, like, tell me I'm wrong. Like, I think that the Lab 599 would fit, but it would look. You would have to put like an AR on the table or something like that, right?
I mean,
like,
it's a little wider, but
it's a slab of metal.
The problem is there's IPA there, and only girls drink IPA.
Again, bring it.
Now, 2,000 miles away. I don't care.
As a beer enthusiast, I do like a good. We have a couple of like proper. Again, you might disagree, Mike. Proper British like brew houses, and you can get a cask pull of ale, and that's good beer. It is actually really good. At the same time, I'm a very equal opportunity beer drinker, so I don't care.
I mean, so long as it's not like Bud Miller Coors.
Yes, I mean, it's just we don't drink IPA over here because that's the stuff we sold the Indians.
Right. Yeah, it's still living on that historic story there.
Oh, yes.
That's what we did to make it last the trade route.
Let me go with I don't care.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Dude, I like your way of thinking, man.
Respect to other people who enjoy beers that are not macros. That's kind of the point, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it was HARP or the government that killed your Christmas antenna, Josh. Who knows?
Oh, was that it? Exactly the day that was Christmas Eve. Was HARP transmitting on Christmas Eve? Can somebody check from? Obviously, there is a wait.
Santa flew over with a radar gun.
So Gil said there's a website that you can go to check when HARP was transmitting. Somebody in the chat, was HARP transmitting on Christmas Eve?
That's why he was asking about the time, like when, the date.
I don't think that's on the open side of the internet.
Yeah,
it's in the dark. You got to go to the dark web.
Yeah, you got to go
to the dark web.
Yeah, right.
However, talk to Brian. Is it Bushwood or Brushwood, whatever? Modern Rogue.
Yeah,
they did a video a few years ago about the dark web, so you could.
Yeah, I got to go get my Tor browser.
I'm just
out.
saying.
Let me get my Tor browser. Somebody is sending me CW Just. What is CW Just? This is Connor. Connor, calm down. Is this Connor? Connor. You got a 10 over S9 signal, man.
What's he running? 1,000 watts? 1,200?
He's on a remote. Is it Connor? I'm not trying to allude to the fact that Connor's doing this. I'm just asking. I don't want people.
Are we talking YouTube or Discord right now?
It's on YouTube on my WSJTX. Somebody's blasting me with.
I think somebody's just raised your bluff, Mike.
Nah.
Uh-oh.
I mean, that's a nice looking AR, though. I'll tell you what.
Somebody's just raised it again.
I'll tell you what. Good Smith. Oh, that's a good Smith.
Hang on, hold my beer.
But there's with the 27th. Yeah, but I'm looking for like man pack. Oh, nice knife too to go along with that. That Smith.
Man, if I had my if I had a rifle, an AR or something like that, I'd put it up right in front of the DX10 and the 897. And
who posted that?
It looked up.
Matt, go clean your gun. What's going on with that?
I'm not allowed anything other than a pointy
That's a carry
stick.
piece. That's a carry piece for sure.
I'm only allowed pointy stick. I'm too dangerous.
Yeah, show us your air guns, Mike.
Oh, he was there and now he's gone.
No, he did. He just ran off to go get a pre-charged pneumatic out of the closet.
Oh, I thought he was just going to do like finger guns. Because air guitar, air guns. That's what I got out of that.
Airsoft.
Now everybody's posting pictures of guns in the Discord, so if anybody wants to know.
That's not a bad thing.
No, yeah. Don't get me started. I'll be going back and forth for 20 minutes, and I don't have that time. So
you have to go watch that movie.
The Glass
you have to go watch
Onion.
Glass Onion
movie.
The Glass Onion.
I want a full report next week. We're giving you an extension. What was the other thing he was supposed to watch?
Dante, do you carry that? That looks like a match gun.
Cool.
That looks like a match gun.
That is really cool.
It's got the wide flared base for the mag receiving, so it's like CSSP or something. IPSC.
I don't know why you'd carry a gun with a light on it though.
So it's a home. Well, yeah.
Identify your target.
I mean, that's home defense.
TLR1 is a really good stream light. I have that on a Glock. Good light. There you go, Scott, with the nice revolver. Whew. You're missing out if you're watching.
Call that my noisy cricket.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're missing out if you're watching on YouTube.
Throw your back like a noisy cricket does as well.
I got a shoulder rig for it. I carry it around everywhere.
Nice.
Do you conceal carry that in a shoulder rig?
Absolutely.
Damn, dude.
It weighs a ton, but
yeah,
gets the job done.
But you have to keep rebuilding the suspension on your car because you're looking that Smith around.
What am I looking at?
I get
Sarah,
lots of
what did
shoulder
you
massages.
post? That's a octagonal barrel. I don't know what that trigger mechanism
Could be a Marlin.
What is that mechanism?
Marlin did an octagonal barrel for a while.
That does not look like a flintlock.
I don't know what that is though.
Is that a black powder? It's got to be a black powder.
It is a black powder. Yeah.
Okay.
It's proper old school.
Percussion cap, not flintlock.
It's a side striker. Okay, I got it now. That's cool. Man, now everybody's dropping pictures of guns.
Boy, what kind of door did you open here?
It was all because someone posted no more 818s. We should fucking riot. So I posted a picture with my gun next to an 818, and I said, "Bring it."
And they're bringing it.
And here we are, because God bless America. That's why.
It was the other time that something like this happened when I was talking about how to EDC your ham radio, and everybody just sent super chats of what they carry as their carry gun.
That was a great stream. Yep.
That was the last time.
That was years ago.
That was years ago.
Wow. Yeah, I remember that. I was still in Michigan.
Look at that. Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you. I think I'm going to head out here and go watch some Glass Onion for any of our Korean listeners in the house.
Tango Rev's got the best one.
Yeah, Tango Rev's got it.
Yeah, Josh, you're really going to enjoy that movie. I promise. You're be like, that's just awesome.
It's fantastic.
I liked it. I how did you think it compared to the first one?
Well, did you all like
the first one?
Did you all like the first one? Did you all like the first one?
Are you talking about Knives Out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Knives Out was cool. It was just a little. This one's easier to follow.
Oh, I like super dumb complicated.
Okay, Scott. Let me ask you this. Now, do you think that the main protagonist guy, the rich guy that owned the island, all that stuff, do you think he was going after some rich guy in particular?
Yeah. I already know what literally the opening of the movie. It's like Elon Musk. I already know what they're trying to push.
Okay, well,
yeah.
There were some insinuations here and there for a couple things, but the movie's just good.
Yeah, that's not giving it away. That's not giving it away because that's just part of the storyline, anyways, and it's not really relevant.
My girlfriend and I watched it last night, and it was fantastic.
With my dad over, like I'm trying to keep him occupied too, and he was hanging out. I'm like, have you seen the we're going through HBO, and Tenet came up, and I'm like, do you like weird complicated movies? He's like, yeah, I guess. And I'm like, have you seen Tenet? He's like, I haven't seen Tenet. I'm like, okay, here we go. Tenet is dumb complicated. It's ridiculous. And he's like, man, this is a lot. Go ahead, Scott.
Also, don't forget the Bad Batch season 2 just came out.
Yeah,
really?
Episode 1 and 2 dropped. I've watched them both.
They're freaking phenomenal
on Disney Plus.
They're good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I haven't finished watching that with the kids. I'm gonna finish it up with them, and then we'll go watch that because that's a
wait till you see who one of the characters is in the first episode.
Is it Jar Jar?
No.
I'm
joking. I'm not going to ruin it for you.
Joking. Of course I'm joking.
But Scott knows who I'm talking about too.
This is a joke to the podcast. Quick setter slag. That was the joke on the podcast that my wife didn't get the key reference. But yes, I lockpick too. I have a bunch of lockpicks. I'm a Sparrows guy, and I've got a bunch of other stuff.
You don't happen to be a lawyer, do you?
I'm a Bosnian Bill fan. I'm a Bosnian Bill ride or die. I like the Lockpicking Lawyer. Lockpicking Lawyer's TikTok is the best. If you're on TikTok for any reason, go look up the Lockpicking Lawyer. He cuts down a lot of his stuff, and it's a lot of I had to get in the back door of this girl's home, and it's that whole all of that that you could play of that kind of jokes. It's very funny. All right, I am officially. Oh yeah, I've gone over time here. I'm gonna go try and find the wife and watch
7-3, Josh.
Glass
onion.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Discord, take it easy. I'll see you later.
7-3, Josh.
7-3.
See ya.
Everybody.
All right, everybody on the YouTubes. Thanks for watching. You literally. So this after chat's gonna stay up. So everybody share the link with your friends if you'd like to catch the 113-minute area, I think, is when our friend Gil hopped on. And in the morning, I'll try and snip it so that you guys can catch that on the timestamps. Until I talk at you again, 73. This is why we need the Space Force to stop the space war. The upcoming incursion of forces foreign and alien. The Space War. If you believe you've been probed by aliens, you're already enlisted in the space war.